Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of My Life Has Definitely podcast. Look, you guys, tonight we are what we call a going with the flow. We don't have a topic. Y'all know how we do already. We touch on a little bit of everything sometimes. Sometimes it gets too heavy for people. If it fits you, just say ouch and keep it moving because that's what we doing tonight. We might touch on some topics that might be a little unnerving for some people, but I believe a lot of things need to be addressed at this point so that people can get set free and be healed from some things. As you can see, we have some lovely special guests with us tonight. But I
Hey,
am one of your hosts, Coco Fenton, and my other host over there, Q, is doing her thing right now. You know, she's trying to make this an hour long conversation, but she knows we always go past the hour. So I don't know why she continues to do this to herself. But okay, we're going to try it again tonight. So our special guest for tonight is going to be Miss Lyrical 7 and Shana. These are like my friends, you guys. I absolutely love them. So I think you guys are going to enjoy our topic tonight because it's going to come from four different points of view. And we're just going to go straight into it, right? So,
yeah.
my first question for the panel tonight is, since we're all women, now that you are where you are in life, how do you truly define yourself as a woman?
Mm.
Mm, that's an interesting question. She started off coming strong.
Uh,
Right. Are you addressing a specific person
I
or
said to the panel, thank
I
you.
know.
so that would be lyrical?
okay. Look, okay. So we coming out swinging.
Yes.
Okay. So now that the question was, now that I'm where I am in life, how do I define myself as a woman, correct? Okay. Well, I think for me personally, I a lot of experiences. I've had to experience a lot of things in my life to kind of find out who I am, period. Not just as a woman, but as an individual, as a Christian woman, as a African American woman. For me, it's a lot of different facets. But I think for me, now where I am in life, looking back, when I was growing up, I didn't have a lot of confidence in who I was because I really didn't understand who I was growing up. I went through a lot of different experiences. I went through some trauma. Anytime you're going through trauma, that always will make you question who you are. It makes you question your identity. Me personally, I didn't really find my place until a little bit later on in life. And it was through going through these traumatic experiences. Um, I had to grow into my purpose, understanding what God purposed me for. I think through understanding what God purposed me for specifically is when I began to understand who He created me to be. And so for me, as a woman, especially as women, we wear so many different hats, especially those of us who have children, families. I mean, we're like here, there, we're everywhere. We're doing it all. So sometimes we can lose ourselves in those different things. But I think for me, finding that quiet time, that quiet place, understanding that God purposed me for greatness, that I do have a voice, that I am important, and that I do have a place in this world, in this society where I am. So for me as a woman, I find myself I'm someone who is brave where I used to be afraid. I'm someone who is bold where I used to be timid. And I find myself now having a voice where I used to be voiceless because of all the different things that I experienced. So those are kind of some of the ways I see myself now as a woman versus the older me versus the younger me. I went through a lot of people taking advantage of me and being in positions, even in ministry, where I was spiritually abused. And so going through those things now, like there's certain things that I would put up with the younger me versus the new me, the now me. There's certain things I realize I don't have to take, I don't have to stand for, because God did not create me to be a doormat, And so I think all those things help define who I am now as a woman.
Great.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, to kind of, like she said, like me, speaking from my personal view, definitely I went through a lot to transform to who I am now and to define me. It's not one particular thing I can say that defines me, because I wear so many hats. And I've learned that what I went through, my vision wasn't for me, it was for somebody else. So I've learned that, my value has a lot of purpose. When I used to lack of thinking my worth was totally different, I know what my worth is now. I know how to be able to function and knowing where boundaries are for people to be around me, learning what my peacefulness is, learning what my happiness is, learning that I don't have to be dimming myself down or limiting myself for anybody else because they're intimidated. Like she said, we wear so many hats. And definitely, like me being a mom, that's me just being a role model in itself. So that defines one character, is just showing my kids how they should structure themselves on their own journey. And then you take the factor of being an author. I take that hat as to being able to explain to people that you can take the steps and live your dreams, or take the purpose of going through domestic violence and now being an advocate for women that can't speak. So I speak for the voiceless. I speak for the ones that can't speak or are not here to speak for themselves. So a lot of my characters, I guess you can say I became phenomenal, amazing, brilliant, intelligent, educational, and the list goes on. And wherever purposely of, where God leads me, that's where I am. So define me as a woman now is a purposeful, spiritual woman that does what I need to do and surrender it all to God.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
All right. I'm loving the answers today. Go ahead. Okay, Q. Okay,
Let
Q.
me ask you all this. During your process, did you embrace it or did you want to give up?
Some nights it was kind of hard, but I learned to embrace it because I know I couldn't quit. I needed to continue to fight. There was no giving up, because if I gave up, I was letting the devil win, and that was not an option.
Yeah, kind of same here for me. I realized that the purpose that God has for me is bigger than just me. So a lot of what I do is not for me, really. It's for other people. And it's one of those things where, if you don't go, who will go? If you don't
Right.
speak, who will speak? So it was a lot of that where I realized that it was bigger than just me. So I had to keep going. I had to continue, because there were specific people that God destined me to reach, and I needed to get to those places.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I had to answer the question myself, I would answer it in a way where I'm still processing. My process ain't over. You know what I mean?
Right.
So at the end of the day, I can honestly say that I know for sure that my life ain't mine. Because if it was just about me, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You know
Right.
what I mean? So that's how you know that it's something bigger than you going on, especially when you look back over to some of the things that have taken place and have happened in, all of our lives. You know that it's something bigger than you
Yeah.
going on, because something has kept you here for whatever that purpose may be. Because I do believe that our purpose sometimes can be put in a box as well.
Mm-hmm.
And your purpose is a much bigger than what you think it is, so it's just like, when you get put in this much space, but everything in you is about this wide and it just keeps
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
that part of you is going to always come out. And like I tell Q all the time, when people come at me from certain types of ways, it's not like it's a light switch. I can't cut it on and turn it off when I
Mhm.
feel like it. It's me like this every day, all the time. So that's what you're gonna have to get. And at the end of the day, when the process is over, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
When the process is
Is
over,
it over?
when the process is over, it'll be a great day. It'll
Yes.
be a great
Yes.
day. I mean, even though parts of the process hurts, um, I can't sit here and tell anybody that when you're processing that it's gonna feel good, because it don't.
Right.
Everything don't feel good. Everything don't seem good. Everything don't look good. And every day is gonna be different, but you have more highs than lows.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that I can honestly say, and I think all of us can say that. We've always had our low moments, but we've had more highs than lows.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, there's a ray of sunshine all the time.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, like they say, you find that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Well, when are you gonna see your rainbow?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that's when you have to stop and ask yourself, what are you filling yourself with that you can't see beyond where you are now? So I'm a firm believer that you are what you intake,
Yes.
and what you're
Right.
intaking, if it's wrong, you're wrong.
Mhm.
If you're not taking in the proper things, then it ain't gonna come out right. It's just like your body. If you if
Right.
you if you fill it with junk, it's gonna get sick. it's
Yes.
not gonna it's not gonna act right. So if you fill it with the right things and you fill your life with the right things, I believe all of that shows.
That's so true. So
Yeah,
true.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And
All
for
right.
me, learning to grow through my go through, because
Mm.
my process is I'm still processing, as Coco said, and I believe it's going to be a forever process,
Mhm.
because with every level, it's going to be another level of processing. I have to
Yes.
learn
Right.
something. And what I don't learn, what I've learned is God brings me back to a circle and I have to repeat the process. So it's so
Right.
important for me to learn what I was supposed to learn in that
Right.
season, so that I won't have to
Absolutely.
repeat the process, because I've done that and I don't want to do it again. It does not feel
Right.
Right. Haven't we
and
all?
Yes.
Mhm.
there's plenty of nights I cried. There's nights that I still cry.
Mhm.
Hard
Mm-hmm.
to even admit that, but there is nights that I
Yeah.
cry
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
like be like, okay, what am I supposed to get out of this, or who am I going through this for?
Yes.
But
Mm-hmm.
learning to embrace it as I go through it, learning the lesson as I go through it, I think that's so important for my maturity, for my
Right.
elevation, and to
Right.
be able to stand up and say, okay, now that I've gone through this, I can help somebody or whoever it was meant for to get through it. So that is so important in the processing stages.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right.
Definitely.
But that there's something that you just said that kind of really brought something to mind. When you said that, when you cried, it was hard to tell somebody. I was sitting here like, I heard a man say, "Hey, I don't cry because somebody told me that was a sign of weakness."
Right.
Mm.
It's not a
Right.
sign of
No.
weakness.
No, it's
No.
not.
Honey, first of all, that shows that you are a strong individual, that you was able to hold it in so long before you let it out, first of all.
Mhm.
Right.
Right.
And then when you decided to let it out, that's a release for you. And a lot of people don't understand that when you cry, that release is actually a form of breakthrough for
Yes.
you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, if you got to get personal breakthroughs on your own, and that's how
Yeah.
you get through what you're going through, then you do what you need to do. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell nobody that you hold it in, because some
Right.
things some things you got to be able to release it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if,
And
if
Absolutely.
I
you
say
hold
that's
it,
a
it's going to
learning
do something to
process
you.
for me. That's a
Right.
Mhm.
learning process, because crying meant somebody about to get hurt when I started.
Right.
Mm.
So
Gotcha.
now, now it's like, okay, God, you're breaking me down. You're making me more vulnerable. And it's not natural to me. And I said that on
Mhm.
you guys' show. It's not natural for me to cry.
Mhm.
It's a
Mhm.
learning process. And that process
Yeah.
is so scary for me. I don't like to feel vulnerable. I don't like
Mhm.
to even let people in. Coco, no. When I'm going through something, I call her and I'm venting.
Mhm.
And it's like, look, okay. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna need you to calm down. Because when a Quint comes off the plane, she don't want to go back and hibernate. Okay. So
Right.
Yeah.
y'all know
Right.
Quint, y'all know Q, but a Quint is a
Right.
whole nother person. And she don't like to hibernate.
She coming out
She like,
sharp and ready.
yes. And that's not a good,
You
that's
don't
not
know
a
the half.
But see, like you said, like it goes back to what you were saying. I mean, you can look at the growth. You're seeing how much that God is processing you and how much you're growing from that process, and that's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
there was one point where you couldn't even admit that.
Mm,
And
Right.
now the fact that you're able to even admit that
That's
is
it.
it shows you like, wow,
exactly.
you know, I remember back then, I remember for me personally, um, I'm a very protective person when it comes to my family. And that's when well, y'all know me as Lyrical 7, but my name is actually Tanya. But that's when T Bone come out. And T Bone don't be playing when it comes to her family. And I remember there were so many times like I would physically fight people that mess with my brothers because I have two younger brothers. And God had to like, whoa, T, you know, God had to really teach me how to give everything over to him and allow him to fight my battles.
That's
And
it.
so on we have a show now called Conversing with the Griffins where we talk a lot about like growing up, what it was like growing up a Griffin. And so my brothers, one of the things they said about me was like, yeah, she was motherly. She will protect you now because they know how I used to be. But God had to show me how to give that over to him and allow him to fight my battle so I could get his result. And because of my relationship with him and how I was growing in him, and it was hard. I cried. I was like you, I cried because I was so angry. I wanted to physically hurt and harm people that mess with my brothers. But I started letting God handle it, and the results, it was just so much better. So it's all about the growth. It really, really is.
Well, that's the thing. If you don't see growth, then okay. Let me backtrack for a second. Let me say it in this way so that the people can really get it. First of all, let's stop blaming everybody else for the reason why you have not moved forward.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the first thing.
Yeah.
Second of all, if you don't see growth, then it ain't everybody else around you that you need to check. You need to check yourself.
Yourself.
Yeah.
right.
Correct.
That's where the problems come in. We want to look at everything and everybody else, but we don't want to look right here.
Mhm.
And right
Hmm.
here is normally most of
Yeah.
your problem. A lot of people don't understand that literally, if you have heard me say it, I know Q has said it a few times in some of our other shows that you can be your own worst enemy.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And if you don't understand that you are your own worst enemy and that you are literally killing yourself,
Mhm.
nobody else is doing it. You're doing it all on your own. But you want to blame Mama, Susie, Poo Poo, and all of these other people and say that these people are the reason why you are the way you are today. Okay, wonderful. We know they had a hand in it, but this is stuff that happened to you in your childhood. You are now almost 40. If you have
Yes.
not gotten over it and got past it, then it is on you. It is no
That's right.
longer on Mama, Daddy, Pookie, and whoever because they have forgotten that they did it to you. They
Right.
That's
have went past it. They went past it after they said it out their mouth or whatever actions they
Mhm.
performed. They were over it then.
Yes.
You were the one that got stuck in place and
that's right.
Hmm.
can't seem to let it go. So
Yeah.
when it's like that, you can't. It's time out for blaming everybody else of
Mhm.
why you're not growing.
Because at
Mhm.
some point you're making choices for yourself.
That's it.
You
Correct.
know. Yeah.
That's it. And that's
Absolutely.
and that's one of the biggest problems that I see is that
Mhm.
everybody has a blame game thing going
Mhm.
on. You got
Mhm.
people who are. I mean, I know people close to their 60s and 70s who are still holding on to stuff that happened to them
Wow.
when they were 7. I
Mhm.
mean, I literally had a conversation with a 65-year-old lady last week. And
Wow.
for her to sit down and tell me she was still holding on to stuff that happened to her when she was 8,
Wow.
Wow.
and she's 65
Mhm.
now. And for me to be my age and look her in her face and say, okay, well, when do you want to change?
Yeah.
Mhm.
When do you want to change?
Mhm.
As of today, if you knew that you could really let it go, drop it, never pick it up, and have to look at it again, would you do that? For her to say yes at 65,
Wow.
and I mean that right there was something for me, because
Yeah.
I have never dealt with that, because most of the people that are 65 older than you, they're the ones telling you how to come to God. They're
Right.
the ones telling you how good He is. They're the ones giving you all the encouragement and all the golden nuggets. But for it to be flipped around and you to be half a person's age, and you're telling them like, hold on, wait a minute. This ain't what you got to do. If you want to release it today, and don't never walk back and pick it back up.
Right.
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
You, and at the age of 65, I could just imagine having held on to
Mm.
that long. And
Oh.
that one thing being the one thing that has set you back for 65 years.
Whew.
Yeah.
I sat back, and when I say this, if it clicks to y'all, I want you to interject and intervene. But I sat back and I looked at something the other day, and what I looked at was, I was like, wow, okay. So, I do the travel agent thing on the side.
Mhm.
That's something I like to do. It's a hobby of mine. But what made me think about what I do as a travel agent is the people that call me to book them reservations, they have a set destination in mind,
Mm.
right? And
Mhm.
with this set destination in mind, they're planning either long term so they can reach this destination, or they're planning short term as goals to be able to go to this predestined
Mhm.
destination.
Mhm.
So, but what the Lord gave me was, He was like, but I need you to think about this. In life, you have a destination,
Mhm.
but how long are you going to be traveling and traveling to go nowhere?
All right.
Wow.
When he brought that to my attention
Wow.
and said, how long are you gonna be traveling and traveling, going nowhere?
Mm.
Mm.
He was like, you'll never reach where I need you to go if you're always traveling, going nowhere. You're
That's
Wow.
going
right.
you're going everywhere but the places I sent.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Everywhere but the places I destinate for you to go.
Mhm.
Everywhere but the place that I willed you to be. You're
Mhm.
going everywhere but there.
Mhm.
So in turn, you're traveling, going nowhere.
Wow.
Yep. And that's be
That
people that's stuck
yes,
in their life and don't, like you said, holding on to stuff and they not going to the destination they need to go to.
right.
Mhm.
But
They
that
they're
thing
stuck in
be
that
so
moment
hard,
and not able to go to the destination where he sent them to. So
right?
yeah.
Right. That thing hit me so hard though.
Mm.
I was like, ooh,
Wow.
like
That's big.
wow,
Mhm.
like ooh, like when you really stop and think about it, and then it made me not only question. I had to
Mhm.
re-examine right here first,
Mm-hmm.
but it
Right.
made me re-examine the people that I had around me.
Mm.
I sit back
Yep.
and I look and I said, oh, it's a lot of y'all not going nowhere.
Right.
Right.
And it's a lot of y'all ain't trying to go nowhere.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so I gotta re-examine you and figure out what place you sit in, because you can't sit right
Mm-hmm.
here. You
Mhm.
Right.
know, you can't be inner circle and you ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Like
Right.
that doesn't work for me in this season of my life.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Yes.
So that's what we have been trying to get people to understand and see is, in the season of your life that you are in, do you realize who and what you are
Mm.
surrounded by and connected to?
Yes.
That's
Right.
right.
What have you connected to?
Mm.
And what
Mm-hmm.
have you allowed to connect
Need
to
like to
you?
you.
Right. And then
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, what have you made yourself available for?
Mm.
Mm.
Yes.
And because a lot of people don't deserve your availability.
Girl,
You
preach
gotta
it
And
say
now.
so
that
Say
again.
that
Yes.
again. Say that
what have
again.
you made yourself available
Yes.
for?
It's so true.
It's the biggest thing where when I tell you that when God come at me, he come at me as real as I come to people.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
how he bring it to me. And then
Right.
he I mean, when he stops and he says, "This is where I'm getting ready to take you,"
Mm.
and they can't go.
Yes.
You know,
Mhm.
this is it. You know what I'm saying? You tried
Mm.
and you can't try
Right.
no more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's no longer an assignment for you. It's no longer that. So now
Mm.
you got to learn how to part ways. And
Mhm.
then
Right.
when you learn how to part ways, you know, when you start saying no, when you always say yes, people think you're acting funny.
Yep.
Yeah,
They
you
got
done
a
change
problem.
up on them. They
Right,
don't
right.
like
People,
that. You done
right,
turn bougie and everything else with that.
right. People think you acting funny, but it's
Mhm.
not acting funny.
Right.
I've grown. And
Right.
because
Yes.
I've grown, it's not my fault if I have
Mhm.
outgrown you.
You.
Right.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, if I have tried to get you to grow with me and you have chosen not to move, I can't drag you.
That's right.
Right.
I
I just
can't
say
Exactly.
drag you.
you
Mentally,
can't.
physically, and spiritually, I'm not carrying dead weight anymore.
Exactly.
So
Amen.
that's where that has went. I told Q at the beginning of what I think it was 2020 2021. Yeah, when we went out for New Year's Eve, before we even headed where we was going, I said, "Yo, access denied." Like
That's
I said that so loud and so big and with the biggest, cheesiest grin on my face. Let me
right.
tell y'all, I was like, "Yo, for real, access denied in 2021."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know you cannot give everything that had access to you before
Yeah.
access to you now because your seasons have changed.
Yes.
That's
Right.
right.
When your seasons change, you got to change with the season.
That's
Mhm.
You
right.
can't stay the same and the seasons is changing. How
Right.
does that work?
Exactly.
It don't
Exactly.
work.
That don't work. You
It
know,
don't work.
at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, y'all know it's October. October, the weather changes. You gonna be
Mhm.
Mhm.
walking around outside in some Daisy Dukes in a tank top. This what you gonna do to yourself? Knowing you gonna freeze when you get outside.
Gonna
So
be
I'm telling
sick.
Yeah,
right,
exactly. Lay it up
right.
somewhere.
So if you know these things, why not change? I posted it a couple days ago, maybe last week. I said when you decide to change, you will experience some discomfort.
Yes,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
That's true.
exactly.
Because if you think that changing is easy, it's not.
It's
Mm-mm.
not.
It's so not. I
Mm-mm.
mean, certain changes that you got to make gonna look real crazy and stupid to some people,
Yes,
but you
Mhm.
get it because God gave it, and you
yes,
get it.
Right.
And other
Right.
people may not understand, but people around you that know where you at, they get it. They
yeah.
Mhm.
got it. They right here with you, and they understand. They like,
Mhm.
look, do you? When God is done, hit me up. You know
Right.
what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? When he done, hit me up. I'm gonna be right
Yeah,
here supporting you in the background, but I'm gonna let you do you because I
Mhm.
exactly.
know that what you gotta do, I can't touch you right now at this moment, but I'm gonna always be back here in the background to support. So
Yeah.
when it's like that, ladies, I have to know from y'all when you know once you figured out who you was in God, where God was actually trying to take you to, because you still may not know fully what He's really trying
Mm-hmm.
to do.
Mhm.
But when you really, really knew who you were and you latched on to the vision that God had for you, what was your real epiphany?
That everybody ain't gonna travel with me that I thought that was going with me.
Hmm.
Everybody that I thought that was gonna be on board, it ain't. And like you said, everybody doesn't deserve access. And it was a different vision. And the vision I had wasn't the vision that he like my his vision was way bigger. My
Mhm.
vision was somewhere else and his vision was way bigger. And I just had to understand that I have to walk this path. And everybody that's on this path is not going to be on the same path. Some people going to hit your ride, and when it's time for them to get off, it's time to drop them off.
Right, right.
So, how important to you is your support system, and how easy or hard is it for you to let go of those that are not supposed to be connected?
See, I've learned a long time that everybody that I want to be attached to me ain't supposed to be attached to me, and everybody that I think that's just gonna support me ain't gonna support me. So long as I've learned that the people that's supposed to be there gonna be there during the time that they need to be there. So as long as I continue to do my purpose, I ain't worrying about who there and who ain't there. I've gotten over the I need fans and I need this person to say I approve. I don't need the validation. Long as I'm doing my purpose for God and seeing the healing and the, you know, the things that are transforming through other people, what I'm delivering, I'm good. He look,
Lyric.
all I need is him to say good job.
That's
There you
it.
go.
That's
There you
it.
go.
That's
Well
it.
done.
Well
Well
done.
done. That's
There you
it.
go. Um, for me specifically, back in 2014, I stepped away from the norm of what I was doing to pursue the vision of spoken word ministry that God had given me. Um, I was working full time on a church staff. So I felt like, okay, I'm on this church staff. I was there for the season God had me, um, reaching out to people, ministering to people. But God was shifting things for me. My season, as you said, Coco, was changing. And so for me, I had gotten into such a place of comfort of where I was, even though God was moving me from where I was. And so it took me a minute to get on board with what God was trying to have me do, because I had just gotten into this complacent and just comfortable position. And like you said, anytime God is shifting and moving, it is going to be extremely uncomfortable. It's not going to feel nice. It's not going to feel good when you're in the middle of it, because you're like, why are you rocking the boat? Everything is fine. Everything's good. What we doing over here? you know? And so God was literally rocking my boat, and he was rocking my boat so hard where it really, literally, I couldn't deny it anymore. There was a poet who flew from the UK and ended up meeting me and was just like, okay, what are you doing? You know, God has called you over here. Why are you here? And I was just like, because it's pretty and I like it here. I've been here for a while. So anyway, as I was beginning to transition to really push towards what God wanted me to do, I ran up against so much opposition, and opposition that came from the craziest places. Just like Sheena said, the people that I thought would be like, oh, girl, this is what God is saying. You go pursue. No, they were the people being like, what you doing? Get back over here and get back on your ball and chain. And what are you doing? And so it really took me by surprise. The people that, like she said, that I thought would be encouraging and supportive really came against me and attacked me and tried to ruin me over me stepping out to do what God wanted me to do. And so in that moment, I realized that, you know what, just because people have titles and people have position,
Yes.
it does not mean that they're acting and hearing and moving in the spirit of God,
Thank
That's
you.
right.
especially when it concerns you, because this was always my thing. God is not going to tell me one thing, especially about me, and I'm praying and seeking him, and tell you something different,
That's
because he's
right.
not a God of confusion. He's not a
Right.
God that's out of order. So somebody's not hearing from God.
Right.
That's right.
It's either you or me. And I
Mhm.
know I've had too much confirmation to know. I know when God speaks to me. I know how God speaks to me. And I
Yeah.
know all the confirmation I got. So despite all the opposition that I faced, I still pushed out and stepped forward. And as I stepped forward, I had places to travel, like Colorado and different places. As I traveled, God sent people along the way to tell me, you did exactly what God wanted you to do, despite the people who were, opposing you.
Right.
And
Mhm.
it was
Mhm.
really hard for me. I mean, I cried a lot during that time, because these are people I known for 20 plus years. And I just thought with this relationship we had that they would just really rally in my corner. And it was the exact opposite. In fact, they were the ones trying to tear me down and distract and stop me from doing what I was doing. And it's like, it got to the point where it was so crazy that I literally had to go back and have a meeting with them, to
Mhm.
sit down and talk to them, because it had gotten so bad. And so yeah, there's people that are not going to be happy when God moves you towards your purpose, because these are people that want you to just, they want to continue to have access to you, like you all were
Mhm.
talking about. And with God moving you forward, they won't have the access that they once had, and people they will not be happy about that. But like
Right.
Sheena said, you got to do, I don't fear man the way I fear God. I have
Right.
to do what God has called
Right.
me to do, because he's the one who I have to answer to.
Right.
That's right.
Right. And I totally get it. Like I said, of or for me, um, stepping out was like real painful. Cause,
Mhm.
cause at a young age, oh, I heard him and heard him clear.
Mhm.
And I could tell people stuff about them that I had no idea about, at a young age. And at the end of the day, at that age, I only had one lady who actually told me who I was in God.
Mm.
Everybody else tried to tell me I was something else.
Mm.
Mm.
But I had one lady when I was 3 years old who
Wow.
who asked my mom to step to the side and talk to her after church one service. And I remember her conversation with my mom just like it was yesterday. She was like, she needs to be guarded because of who you birthed out of your womb.
Wow.
And I'll never forget their conversation. She was like, she's very keen on what she hear and what she see.
Amen.
So, be careful of what she tell you that she see. And
Mm.
it was scary. It was real scary, like literally growing up
Mm.
to be warning people, um, and to be trying to explain to people that, well, I don't know your business. So,
Right.
Mhm.
I'm a child. I don't know nothing about you. You know what I mean? So, and to be telling people stuff about them that you really should not know. You
Mm.
know, and then when you get older and you get involved in church, let me say this: there's crab in the barrel mentality in the natural, like with jobs and just people
Mhm.
against each other. Period. But it's worse inside the church.
Yeah.
Yes, it
The
Yeah.
is.
crab in the barrel mentality inside the church is ridiculous.
Mhm.
At
Mhm.
the end of the day, if you and another person hold the same title, you feel like you're better than them because God speaks to you here and you don't feel like they hear like you do. It's not a competition,
That's it.
No.
really. And that's the thing that really irks my nerve about good old church folk is that at the end of the day, you feel like it's a competition and it's not. We're
Right.
both supposed to be kingdom minded individuals. We're both supposed to be trying to get people to learn and know who the kingdom is, to learn about what
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
kingdom is. And at the end of the day, if you want to say, oh, well, you can't learn from her, but you can learn from me, and you don't feel like the other person is good enough, but you were chosen, though. Like, like at the end of the day, I'm one of them people that I sit back and I really, really like watch things around me,
Mm.
especially
Mhm.
in church. And if
Mhm.
I notice that you're big headed in the church, I know
Yeah.
you're big headed outside of it too.
Yes.
And
Right.
I can't really fool with you like that
Mhm.
because your big headedness is gonna make me say something to you and I'm gonna get
Lord.
rebuked later. I'm
Mm.
gonna get rebuked about it later. I can promise you that. So it's just like, that right there I can't do. And
Mhm.
that's the reason why I love my spiritual parents. Hi, mom and dad. Um, I
Oh.
love I love my spiritual parents because my spiritual parents will tell me about myself, and
Right.
and I and I handle it accordingly after
Mhm.
that. So but yeah, that type of thing I can't do. you know we all four up here, we all have different callings, we all
Yeah.
are not walking in the same light. And even if we do happen to have the same gifting, my gifting don't work like your gifting work.
Right.
Exactly.
my,
Right.
my anointing is not your anointing. The thing that gives me and hones my anointing, you don't want to go through. I can
Listen.
promise you that.
Listen.
Yeah, right. You don't want
Right.
to go through. I can promise you that. And at the end of the day, we want to covet other people's
Yeah.
things so much. You want to
Right.
covet their life, you want to
Mhm.
covet their body, you want to covet this, and you
That's
want to
because we
covet
don't know
that.
what they've been through to get where they
Where
are.
they
I
Right.
are.
promise you,
Right,
if people saw the warfare,
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't even want it because people
right,
always want what they don't understand what you have to go through to get where you are.
Yes, they
And
right,
then
probably couldn't
it's
handle it.
they couldn't. And that's why God didn't give it to them. And also
right.
it's the wrong perspective. You
That's
know what I
it.
mean? Because it's not about any one of us. It's supposed the focus should be on the kingdom of God. And
Right.
it's
Yes.
not. People are
That's it.
focusing on themselves, focusing on titles, focusing on whatever, and that has nothing to do with the kingdom of God, the spirit of God. Like that's so
Mm-mm.
anti-God.
Right.
It's
Right.
not what
No,
he's
and,
about.
and that
They
and
want
that
to
what
make
you just
them
said.
angry.
Right, and what you just said, Lyrica, is the one, and I can tell you something, and I know Q has experienced it, and y'all probably have too. I can't stand it when you go inside a church, speak to somebody who you don't know, and you just speaking to say hello, because you being nice and cordial, and they say, no, I need you to address me as such and such. Oh,
Ooh,
Listen.
Yeah.
wait again.
Jesus.
Who? No.
Call on him.
Look, call on him ain't even a word. Lord, you better shut my whole entire mouth and face
Right,
up. No,
right. Because now I'm not addressing you as anything. I'm not even having a conversation with you because you done brought acquaintance to a whole nother level.
What? Man, I have had people do that to me.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
What? Excuse me? And I'll turn around and walk right away. Like,
Right.
address
What
me.
happened to just servant? No one wants that title. Servant.
Right.
No one wants that title.
They feel them titles
I've
make
never
them
seen
important.
a card that says servant such and such. I've never seen that
Right.
card.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
And
That's
Jesus said
not a
he
placeholder
came.
for anybody.
Know.
Yes.
They
Jesus
don't
said
know.
he
It's
came
like
to
serve.
Yes, and not be served. Like,
And that
and
thing
this is
about
Jesus.
captivity, that thing about holding people in captivity, let me tell you something. God gave me My Life Has Destiny in 2006, and I registered the ministry under a church. When I left that ministry, she was like, you can't take that name because you registered it under my church and I could sue you. Okay. So God said, make it personal. And I changed the name to I Am Destiny. It was flourishing. Then I left, started it in Georgia. Women was just coming to me. And I had gone through so much church hurt. I don't want to say church hurt because the church can't hurt you. I had gone through so much leadership hurt that that I didn't want no parts of my license. I didn't want no parts of ministry. I was like, I'm going to sit in a pew. And God started sending women my way. When I came to North Carolina, got under another ministry, and I registered my ministry as a corporation. And they were like, well, my name ain't on it, so it's not a part of the church. You can't work it. So I was like, okay, fine. No problem. I wasn't doing nothing because I had just got here. So I'm not really doing anything, but I had vision. And I knew God was going to take it off, and I knew the ministry was not supposed to die. Then God sent somebody to collaborate with me. So we started collaborating. Then I got negativity coming. And I was like, what the heck? I said, I got a decision to make. I had already knew I had a decision to make. But I was still like, no, that's not it. It's not it. And I got put out the church.
Don't feel bad. I got put out the church too.
Well, that was the second church I got put out.
I think that we all. I think everybody on this panel has a self Shana. I know I got put out. I
what they don't realize, and you know what my mentality was? Thank you, Jesus. You released me. You freed me. I'm in liberty now. You don't even understand. I didn't have to make the decision.
Right, you made it for me.
And I made it for me.
This is my thing. People say that they were church hurt, but at the end of the day, you're released from a spiritual bondage that you didn't have to deal with anymore. If you are being spiritually bound up, I suggest you turn for the door and run. Because that's not what God intended.
No,
He intended for you to have liberty. The word says it.
Right.
Yes.
For you to have liberty to be able to talk about him, for you to have liberty to be able to be excited about him and to exuberate about who you feel he is to you. Why would he shut that down? He put us here to worship him first and foremost. So why would he shut down what he told you were made for?
Exactly.
And I don't think a lot of people look at it that way. Why would he shut you down?
Right.
And people, you get tired of people trying to put you in a box.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's go there and talk about that.
They do you like they do Jesus.
Right.
He wouldn't even be welcome.
They take them out at their convenience. They're like tissue. I only take you out when I need to wipe my nose. Come on,
You
now.
know, like no.
Look,
No.
I said it to somebody one time before. I said y'all better stop prostituting God.
Mhm.
And
Right.
somebody looked at me like I was crazy. They was like,
But
repeat
it's
what you
the
just
truth.
said. I said, but okay, let's think about it. I said, what? I said, let's go in the natural and think about what a prostitute is.
Mhm.
Okay, she is a prostitute to you, whether it's male or female, they are for hire,
Yes.
Mhm.
right? And a lot of y'all use God like he's for hire.
Yes.
You know?
You call him when you need him, not when you want him.
Yeah.
Right.
And you call him when you need him, and then once you feel like he has done what you called him for,
You left them
you don't
alone.
know him no more.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Amen.
So you want to sit here and tell me that's not what you feel like you're doing? That's exactly what you're
Look,
doing.
of course they're not gonna say that's what they doing. That means they have to say truth to themselves.
Right,
No, they're not gonna say
right,
that.
You
right.
better
I'm
talk
saying like,
about the self-evaluation that nobody don't want to do and they can only see your flaws. And they only see
Yeah.
No.
your flaws because they
Yeah.
identify with them. Because they got the
Yeah.
ones on
look,
their own. What? They're
Yeah.
like,
Right.
come on now.
Right.
But we don't want to,
look,
we don't. That's
look.
another
Like
topic.
I tell people all the time, look, you better address the elephant in the room, and the elephant in
Yes.
the room is the man in the mirror.
No.
That's
Absolutely.
what it is.
Right.
It's the
Absolutely. Say
man
that
in the
again.
mirror.
Yes. And they too
Exactly.
and they too
Right,
afraid to look at it. They like, wait,
right.
that's you. Check it real
That's
quick.
it.
Exactly.
Not only is that part of it, let's dig even deeper, right? So let's think about these people who feel like they have all of these multiple personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Um and when you feel like you got all of these multiple personalities, we're gonna talk about your mental condition for a second,
Mm-hmm.
because even in your mental condition, your multiple personalities, you are still one individual.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, even psychologists, don't want to tell them that
Of
Yeah.
course
you are
not.
still one individual, honey. You might have a thousand people you feel like running through your brain, and you need to slow them all down and listen to who talking.
Mhm.
But
Mm-hmm.
you are one
Mm-hmm.
Right.
individual. Those personalities is something you just make up because you want to be somebody new today. You have played the chameleon so long, you don't know how to detach yourself
Right.
from the fake you. Those
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
multiple personas that you put on
You
for
need to
Mm-hmm.
take
years
the
on
masses
top of
off.
years. Right.
Take
They
the
There
they
you go.
masses off.
right. They don't walked around as a chameleon for however long. And now you don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to detach from that.
Yep.
Mhm.
You don't know the real you
Right.
apart from all of these
Right.
people that
All
you
these
said
other
that you were.
characters.
Right. And
Characters and images that we portray.
right. And I told a person one time that they talk about the term bipolar. I said no, they need to make it tripolar.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, it's a whole lot of stuff going on with some people,
Right.
and it's more than just a bipolarism problem.
Right.
Okay.
That's good.
And it's stuff that really needs to be addressed.
Mhm.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, first of all, I don't really feel like nobody got to tell you that you're wearing a mask
Right.
Mhm.
Mm.
because I think that when people say they don't know, honey, you have lied to yourself and you have lied to
Come
Exactly.
on.
everybody else
Exactly.
Yeah.
because
Deep down inside, we always know.
right,
Mm-hmm. And the question is,
Mhm.
which mask are you wearing?
Right. Who coming
Because you
out
know you got
today?
it on. So which one is it?
right,
Who you float? What image are you giving today?
right,
Exactly.
right.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
when it's like that, uh,
Hey,
I don't even
Fred.
really know. Hey,
Hey.
Fred, and when it's like that, I really don't even know the words to use. Like you get to the point of where when you want to tell the person, look, I'm talking to the real you, not
Mm-hmm.
the you that you gave the folks yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
The
Or
real
not
you
the you that
yesterday.
you woke up with right now.
Right. Let's go ahead and deal with the real you, not
Right.
the
Right.
one where you put makeup on to go to sleep and then you wake up telling everybody you look like this every day and you
Mhm.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you know, not the one that got to cover up every blemish because you feel like somebody's gonna talk about it.
Right.
Not
Right.
the you. Not
Oh,
the you the way
that
you ain't got no hair, but you go get 65 bundles and sew them in your head so that you can tell somebody that you got something. Not that you.
How about not the you that's trying to be like the Joneses and you spilling, you spending
Girl.
church people money.
Okay, not that you. No,
Or
we
not the
want to
you, the
deal.
bills need to get paid and you still getting your nails done,
There
hair
you
done,
go. There
not
That
you
paying,
go.
part.
getting these
There you
expensive
go.
cars, living above your means,
There
knowing
you
that you
go.
That
can't afford
part.
none of that.
There you go. Not that
Yeah.
you.
Not that
Not that
you.
you.
Mm.
Not that you. No. No.
Because in the
We,
long run, you borrowing from the next person because you can't pay your bills
Right.
or your phone just got cut off.
Right.
Yeah.
there you
But
Okay.
have
got a
it.
but got a
Not that you.
$700 iPhone, but can't really pay the bill.
Right.
Yeah. Because
Right.
people are so busy trying to keep up an image and a persona.
Uh-huh.
It's just like people not being authentically themselves, because that would mean they have to deal with themselves.
That's
And
it.
Right.
people don't want to deal with the real them, so it's easier to pretend I'm something else or someone else or all these different personifications, because I don't really want to deal with the real me, you
That's
know?
it.
Yeah.
I just
Or
don't
how about they
understand.
just don't like the real them?
Yeah.
That
And,
too.
and they may not, but hey, that goes back to what we talked about earlier. That gives you the opportunity to change.
Yes.
And if you
Yes.
Exactly.
don't want to change it, it's just like, my grandfather used to say, hey, if you want to see a change in the world, the change got to start with you
With
first.
you. Yeah.
But they need a
Absolutely.
full transformation because when you change, you could change back. They need to be transformed
Oh
all the way.
yeah.
Cute.
Of
I
course.
love you.
Of course.
She's like, we
Yes.
don't want to see them again. We don't want to see that one
No, we don't
again.
want to see you
Right.
again.
Right. Okay,
Just
Quint, you
transform.
here, you got something to say.
Oh,
Not
Okay. All right. So you just came up here to look on, and that's all you gonna do. I got you. I
Cat.
understand you, boss.
Oh no, I pop in when the time's right.
Man, but
Oh my
I
god.
promise y'all, like I need to understand. I just want to know everybody's take on this whole subject. Like for real, for real. If you look at it at the end of the day, I asked a person one time, I said, y'all already know me, you know me well enough that I'm one of them that'll hit you hard and
Mhm.
gonna ask you some stuff that you probably don't want to answer, but it's cool. At the end of the day, I asked a person who came to sit down and have a conversation with me. I said, how long you gonna keep pretending?
Mm.
Mm.
And the whole conversation just stopped. What you mean? You know exactly what I mean.
Mhm.
How long you gonna keep
Mhm.
pretending? This is not the real you. The people
Mhm.
that the person that people see, that ain't you. This is here in my house sitting on the couch is the real you.
Mm.
But they don't know that outside
Mhm.
these doors. When you walk outside these doors, you turn into to Orphan Annie or somebody. I don't know who you turn into, but you not you. You turn
Right.
into a whole nother persona. You got a whole nother voice going on. All that when you step out the door, and that tells me a lot about what you do. I said
Mhm.
when you do stuff like that, that means that you are a manipulator
Mhm.
Right.
because you have manipulated people into thinking that they have this part of you or they know this part of you that they do not know. And at the end of the day, if they were to undo the layers like on the onion and start peeling stuff back, they
Right.
probably wouldn't like what they see because you ain't
Right.
never been that
That
real with
person.
them for them to understand and be able to come at you like that. So my thing is when you tell people what you see is what you get.
Mhm.
They know up front what
Yeah.
Right.
what and who they dealing with.
Mhm.
So in your encounters of dealing with people who have chosen to connect themselves to you, wanted to be connecting to you, knowing the real ones from the fake ones as we call it, and just all around as a whole of an individual. How long did it take you to understand or get to the place where you knew how to deal with each individual? Because you can't deal with everybody in the same manner.
No, you can't.
So how long did it take you to realize that you were at this place where you had to learn how to deal with everybody in accordingly? Let me put it that way.
Well,
Um,
Oh, go ahead, Shana. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say for me, I've learned how to deal with people long time ago since I was younger, because I used to see so many different faces going to church, being around me. Because one, we gonna if we want us to go into realness, my father honestly used to go to the same church with me and lived around the corner, but didn't come to visit me. So that taught me how I had to deal with people already from the gate, because you was one way in church, you was
And one
another
way
way
out.
outside the house. When you're around people, oh, this is my daughter, yada yada yada. But at home around the corner, you ain't calling me nor taking care of me. So I've learned at a younger age how to differentiate around with people, just in general, even being around my great grandmother, because well, she was 96 when she died. She was around me till I was 13. So being around her, she taught me how to genuinely detect people and how they differentiate. And I've seen so many different sides of people, like even my uncles, my cousins, like just paying attention. I was always the quiet one, but I always was very observant.
That's
And
it.
I just used to just watch people. So a lot of times that came from just me being young and just paying attention. I just was like, okay, something is a little different with you and you acting like this. So I've just always was I trusted people, but so much to a certain limitation since I was younger.
Okay, what about you, Lyrical?
So for me, it was a little bit different because I've always been able to read people. When I meet people, I can read people, but I've always dismissed it. So just because of the nature of who I am, I always want to give people that extra chance. Even though I know you're a snake, I never handled you like a snake because I always just had such a caring heart, a caring personality. Even though I knew people would betray me or people would stab me, I knew it when I met them. But I still gave people chance after chance after chance until finally it became one of those things where, okay, how many times you gonna keep going through this? How many times you gonna keep dealing with this? And so I had to just, from those experiences, I had to be like, listen, I gotta trust what God is showing me about this person. I gotta trust the discerning gift that God has given me. I cannot continue to dismiss it because this is how I continually get hurt over and over. It was different people, but the same spirit. And I recognize that spirit. And so I had to handle that spirit accordingly. And so from those experiences is when I learned that, okay, you know what? Once, like I always say, once people show you who they are, believe them,
Right.
and then you're able to handle them accordingly because you already know what type of person you're dealing with. So for
Right.
me, it's not because I didn't know how people were. It was just that I had such a caring heart. I would blow past what I already knew just because I genuinely cared about people. But I learned, I mean, that you have to use wisdom. You can't do that, or you're gonna
Right.
get hurt over and over.
What about you, Q?
For me, I learned at a young age how to cut you off real good. As soon as you start to show me that you this other person, yeah, block ministry is very important to me.
Right.
So I let you go. I mean, I have that caring heart. I want to push people into their destiny, but not at my expense.
Hmm.
Right.
So I my thing is, as soon as you start acting crazy, so I can
Gotta go.
protect me, I gotta let you go because I gotta protect me from me at that point. Because
Okay.
yeah, another side may come out. I'm saved,
Right.
but I'm not fully
Yeah.
delivered. So
Right.
that other side may show up and show out, and we don't need that.
Right.
Y'all be reading
Right.
about Q in the paper and stuff, and you just don't need that.
Look, I saw somebody with a t-shirt on the other day saying, "Hey, I'm saved, but you can still catch these hands." I
Oh,
said, "You know
listen,
what?"
Yes.
I said,
listen,
"You know what?"
listen.
Yes, honey. I was like, "Ooh!" I said, "Oh, that t-shirt just spoke the whole truth right there."
Exactly.
Like for
I
real, for
haven't
real.
got into the turn the other cheek thing. You hit me, I'm gonna react. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I might have the tendency to slap the whole file out your face. Like for real, for real. Um, yeah. So, Fred, I need you to answer this question, man.
I don't know y'all don't want to know how I do that because
Yeah, I
honestly
need you to
speaking,
answer something.
I just treat folks with a long handle spoon, man. Say honestly
Telling
speaking,
my aunt.
because I treat folks with a long handle spoon. Once I know that you gonna try to get down on me, oh yeah, I put you at a distance
Okay.
because at the age I am right now, at 30 years of being an adult, at 48 years old, nah, I ain't got time for it. Because if you gonna do me like that means you'll do it. Yeah, that means you'll do people that I'm attached to it like that as well. And
Yeah.
if you and my thing is I tell folks all the time, whatever energy you give me, I match it. I'm gonna match it. So if you want to be ignorant, I'll be ignorant right with you.
And
You
they
want to
don't
be
want
cool and
that
nice,
part.
I'll be nice with you.
They don't want that
I tell
part.
you,
Right. Yeah. We
you want to
don't
be
need to
ignorant,
turn in.
I get right with you.
We don't need to turn into petty Betty.
No.
Yeah.
Nah,
No.
I ain't no petty betty, but I'm gonna show you what I'm about. If you treat me with ignorance, I got.
We don't
Oh,
want
I
that.
get it. I get it. I understand. Yeah,
I understand.
that ain't what you want to give out, but we understand it. We totally
Right.
understand it. So let me ask you guys this. At what point in your life did you realize that when you had started growing and maturing into that person where you had started heading in the right direction or where you knew you were becoming the person that you are supposed to be? When did you notice that part about you was starting to affect your relationships?
Oh, sorry. Oh. Okay. I guess I'll go then.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, um, for me, it was kind of right away. Because of the fact that I was growing and moving in this particular direction where I knew God was taking me immediately, instantaneously, relationships automatically changed. Like people got ghosts real quick. Like people just, dispersed. And for me, because of just the things that I had been processed through to get to that point of stepping forward, it was actually okay. I had got to the point where like a couple years back it would have devastated my life, but I realized that you know what? My mom I grew up with this from my mom where she said Jesus is your only friend. Jesus is the only true friend that you will ever have. People come and people go. And when I'm younger, I didn't really understand that. But as I got older and growing and going towards the purpose, and realizing too that the enemy will normally attack you through people who are closest to you
That's it.
because he knows that's what's going to get to you. And so he was hoping that that would deter me from moving forward in the direction that God has called me to do, but of course it didn't. But right away relationships instantaneously begin to change with me, and people just like I said, people lied on me, people attacked me, people spread rumors about me, people tried to devastate my character in ministry. I mean, it was just an all-out assault against me. It was ridiculous. And I'm like, we're supposed to be working together to reach people. Like, this is crazy. Like, I thought it was all about the kingdom. It was
Right.
all about the kingdom as long as I was marching to their tune. Not
That's
even
it.
God's tune, but their tune. So immediately for me, relationships began to change. But for me, I got to the point where that's okay because, like my mom said, as long as I have Jesus, that's the only person I need moving forward. So,
Okay.
I
Shane.
would say I would say with me is definitely like she said, kinda when I started surrendering and walking in my destiny and understanding my growth and understanding different things, like people like she said will start disappearing or you're not talking to them anymore, and you'll notice how people switch up.
mhm.
You'll notice how they start acting different, and people getting mad at you for just the things that you're doing to grow for yourself. It's just like, okay. And see, I was raised by myself, so I didn't care about anybody being around me. I was the only kid. I had that only kid syndrome. I'm by myself anyway. I came in this world by myself. I'm gonna leave by myself. So it's like either you're gonna be here with me with this process or you're not. And it's like, either you're gonna grow with me or I'm gonna grow out of you. So it's one or the other.
Right. Q.
For me, it was, I had to realize that I was going to self sabotage because I was handling my household wrong. Um, and I say that because me, my second marriage, I was married to an addict. So one day I was sitting in the house and I snapped because I was tired and I broke up everything, everything that I could break up. I broke up. I was throwing stuff at him. I was setting stuff on fire. I was acting a fool. And my pastor was like, look, um, I'm one that will tell on myself. I take accountability for my actions. But he was like, listen, the wife got a right to be angry, but let the evangelist rise up. And I was like, you got a point there. You're right. So
Right.
you fight in the wrong battle. And I'm like, everything started flashing in my head. My cousin used to tell me daily, you going to jail at 17. As soon as you get 17, you're going to jail.
Yeah, 'cause tell him we can hear him.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Tell him I can hear him. Yep, thank
right,
you.
you're being
All
heard.
right.
Be quiet.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So, they used to tell me that all the time. So when I hit 34 and I'm like, dang, I'm about to go to jail for real because I'm acting all the way up and I'm ministering to people and I can't show them that side of me. And like I told y'all, when the Quintus come out, she want to play. So she comes out to play and she's not a nice person. So although my the first lady, she was like, I did the same thing. Listen, I identify, I get it. But he was like, you can't do that. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I really had to wake up and I had to do some self-evaluations and start praying and fasting and decide, okay, yeah, I gotta be in this. This battle is for me now. It's about saving my life now because I can't minister to anybody and I'm messed up. So
Right.
that's when I realized.
Yeah, I think for me, it didn't my issue with relationships started but when I started to become sick. It didn't start like when I had the whole growth experience thing. It started when I became ill. When I became ill, um, so-called close, you know, what we used to call bosom buddies, so-called ride or dies, won't ride or dies no more. And they just couldn't understand why I can't go out with you tonight, why I can no longer hang like I used to hang before, those type of things. And when you're trying to explain stuff to people that they just truly ain't getting and they ain't trying to understand right now anyway. So, you know, that's where relationships for me begin to change. I tell you, when you can no longer do the things you used to do with people, you see a lot. And you see a part of them that you probably was already seeing it, but you bypassed it. And you continue to quote unquote be friends,
Right.
as you say. So now I list people in categories. I have confidants, I have frenemies because I know who they are,
Right.
because I know who you are,
Mhm.
and I have confidants, people that I know I can share my deepest innermost thoughts with and they won't leave the room.
Right.
I have people that I associate with, which is different because those are not necessarily friends. You are an associate.
Right.
And those type of things. I have people in categories so
Yeah.
that I know where to keep you at all
Yes.
times. I
Yes.
know how far I can let you in, and I know when I need to let you go. And I know that it won't bother me. So that's how I label the people around me. Now, if I call you family, that's what you are.
Right.
Because family is not always a blood term.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and a lot of people that are blood family to you don't even act like it.
Right.
You know, the people outside of them act more like your family than your true family do sometimes.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, for me, it was the same thing with ministry. I used to have so many people come up to me and be like, "Yo, I know you go to church, but you not like the rest of them church folk." And reason being is because I know what it was like to be in the street.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I can, it don't take much to be able to revert backwards. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that's for
Mhm.
anybody. You can
Mhm.
be as delivered as you want to be,
Yeah.
but you know what it would take for you to be able to revert and turn
That's
around
right.
and go backwards. So at
Yeah.
the end of the day, to be able to talk to somebody who is now where I once was is an easy conversation for
Mhm.
me.
Right.
But you have other people. I used to watch other so-called leadership in the church judge the same individual that
Yeah.
I just had a whole conversation with.
Mhm.
But because you're higher up leadership, you judging them, they looking at you like, okay, well, you ain't got to worry about me coming back.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why they choose not to be in church. A
Mhm.
lot of people wanna judge people, but let me tell you something. Just because you're in the church and whether you're out of the church, God still speaks.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that He actually do more speaking to you when you're not in the church.
Yeah.
That's right.
And for me, I can say that was a true statement. When I was out ripping and running the street and doing what I wanted to do, I heard Him when He spoke to me, and He
Mhm.
spoke to me very clear. I could have been inside somebody's four church walls and not got that same message being out in the street. But at the end of the day, because He spoke to me while I was in my mess, it was
Mm.
easy for me to want to go to Him when I didn't want
Yes.
to be messy anymore.
Yes.
You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? So when you
Mhm.
when you decide that you just want, well, look, I'm not really losing anything. You talk to me then, I know you still gonna talk to me now. But the
Mhm.
way you come to me now is gonna be different. You don't have to tell me to clean this up because I already know better. I know that I have to outgrow this area in order to be able to get here. I know I gotta change this thing about me in order to be able to get over here. Just like when I was younger, I had an attitude problem. Everything about me was an attitude. And at
Mhm.
the end of the day, if you looked at me cross-eyed, you caught an attitude, and I might have dotted your eye for looking at me like that. So all I did was fight,
And
like
no.
for real, for real. Like all I did was fight.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you like a thousand stories of how many times my caseworker had to show up at the school, all because I had a fight.
Mm.
And I mean, when she showed up, it won't no little fight. There's fights that there are times when she had to keep me from getting
Dang,
locked up.
little fights, golly.
Yeah, it won't no little fight.
We got
It
categories.
won't
We got
yeah,
categories now.
we got categories of fights. There was no little fight. Like I can remember my first fight ever. I was about maybe 10 or 11, and I wasn't the type that would fight at that time. But what caused me to fight is back then I had really long hair. And the little girl decided she wanted to clap the erasers in my head. And my mama had just done my head, and I knew how she was. And when she clapped the erasers in my head, okay, so now at the gym, you gonna make me have to go shower. I'm gonna have to go wash this crap out my head. My mama just sat me down at the stove with that straightening comb that you put on the
Girl,
stove
yes.
and just straighten all this stuff out that's up here.
Mhm.
Okay. And now when I go wash it, it's finna curl up. And when I come home and it's curled up, she finna look at me with cross-eyed. You understand?
Mhm.
So I got to deal with you before I go home.
Mhm.
I don't know what possessed me to do it that day or what just triggered to say, hey, there's a man book. Pick it up and slap her in the face with it. And that's exactly what I did. this is I picked
She
back
gonna learn
then,
today.
the math books was like this thick, y'all.
Girl,
Y'all know the
yes.
math books was thick as all could get out. I picked up one of them math and hauled off and just slapped her dead in the face with it. And I mean that it was just all she wrote after that. She was really trying to pick up her face, and I was just looking at her like, well, you shouldn't have done it.
Right.
I'm just, you
Makes
shouldn't have
sense to
done it.
me.
Right. And the teacher looking at me told some Coco, I am appalled. I know you appalled, but I'm fine.
Because listen, because I was appalled too. She laughed.
I was like, oh, you appalled now because I slapped her with the book, but you weren't appalled 2 seconds
Right.
ago. Right. So I'm just sitting here like, at that age, it like triggered something because after that, okay, now everybody is getting on my nerves.
Right.
This is what we're gonna deal with. Okay, all right. So everybody want to try the waters today. I promise you not to do this. So like I mean, after that, it was like something triggered, and I was angry as a kid due to what I dealt with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And because I was holding all of this pent up anger over other situations that had nothing to do
Yes.
with the situation I was currently in, I took that anger out
Yeah.
when I was ready to unleash. And
Mhm.
honey, let me tell you, it was a bad day. That's all I got to say. It was a bad day. I thought that I thought I was gonna go to jail when I was in high school because that was my worst fight ever. They had to wire a girl's jaw shut when I was finished. So like I just saw red. That was it. Like she took a can of black spray paint and spray painted the N-word on my locker. And when I walked around the corner to the locker, I'm like, who did it? And I was smiling about it. Everybody was like,
Oh boy.
yo,
Yeah, that's when you know when they
everybody
nice
that
and
knew,
calm.
right? Everybody knew. They was like, yo, she's smiling. We not
Y'all,
gonna tell her that we know who did this, because if we tell her, we know what's gonna happen. And I happened to hear somebody slip up and say her name. When they said her name, I walked around the corner to where she was. Her mother was our coach, and I snatched her up right in front of her mama. It won't even no hesitation, no
Oh my
nothing.
God.
It won't even. We finna have a conversation about it. When I
Wow.
snatched her up and turned her around, I asked one question: did you do it? When she smiled and said yes, okay, a key, and I bust her in her face. So after that, I just kept hitting her. It literally took them like 4 or 5 people to get me off of
Oh
her.
my gosh.
By the time I was done, I didn't know that I had beat her like that. It was like blood everywhere, and she was holding her mouth and her face, but the bottom part of her face had shifted, and I didn't
Ugh.
realize that I broke her jaw.
Oh my
So, when it was over, her mama was like, I'm gonna press charges. I said, okay, go ahead and press charges. When I get out of jail, I'm gonna beat her again. Like that was how I was, like for real. I was like, when I get out, I'm gonna seek her up again. So if that's what you want to do, go right ahead. So,
good,
so the
good,
mama decided,
good grief.
look, I'm just saying though, that was me back in the day. So, at that point in time, the mama was like, no, I don't. I just think I'm gonna change my mind. You chose the perfect answer today. So,
You have chosen right.
that was it
Good
right
God,
there.
good Lord.
So my my caseworker was just like, yeah, okay, I got it. I'm gonna take it from here. Because there ain't nothing else y'all could do with her for today. So that was just it. So I was angry, and I took
Yeah.
my anger out when I released it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the thing. Like I said, we all know the inner us.
Yes.
We know those parts of us that we don't want people to touch, and we
Mhm.
know those parts of us that we don't want people to know about and see. Do I want people to see the angry side of me? No, because it's not cute.
Mhm.
Um, but at the end of the
And
day, at the end of the day,
that would be the
you know,
opposite for me.
right? I don't want people to see that part. If we got to get there, that's my cue that I need to leave the building,
Yeah,
not walk away
definitely.
from you. I need to leave the whole
Right,
entire
exit the whole
building.
premises.
Right. That's my cue that it's my time to go. Like I can't stay around none of that, because if I feel like I can turn around and come back inside the building, no. Yeah. So and then
Nah.
uh uh the thing I found myself doing is that a lot of my other fights was I was protecting other people. I was standing
Mhm.
up for people that would
Yep.
not stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
And I found myself doing that a lot. And then
Yeah.
it just got to the point where I was like, well, look here, Lord. Now, I understand that, we got purposes, but I don't think this was mine. I don't think that this is what you called me to do. You did not call me to beat the people. That's not what you called me to do. So I was just like, that's not what the purpose is. What other way can we learn how to fix this? Because
Right.
I did not know how to deal with my anger. A psychiatrist and a therapist could not help because I did not like my therapist when I was younger. I was like, who gave you your license? Like, for real, I did. I asked the lady, I said, well, who gave you your license? I said, because you ain't told me nothing that can help me. Nothing at all. I was like, I just really feel like this therapist, non-therapist relationship ain't gonna work out. So
oh man.
So I need to go elsewhere, So yeah, that was what it was for me. But that's how it is. I was like that when it came to God too, though. I was like, okay, God, I understand. This is what you said. Do you know how you do when you first starting to want to know who he is and he first start telling you stuff about yourself and you like, but wait a minute. But hold on. You just like, wait, that I understand this is what you said. But if we do it this way, like I'm telling you something like you need my help, and I know you don't need it at all. You know what I'm saying? I know you don't need my help. That's what we do. Yep. And that's how it was. So even when I came to him wanting to know who he was, here I am giving you ultimatums. Like, look, but if you do this and you do it in this fashion, this is going to be the outcome. But if I do it how you said, this is going to be my outcome, and this is what I'm going to lose on the side. Like, that's how I was deciphering it in my head. I was always analyzing something. And then I just had to get to the point where he one day he just said, you know what? I want you to analyze this. Shut up. look, when he did that to me, I was just like, wait, but for real, that's how you gonna do me.
He said he needed you to shut your mouth.
That's what he told me. I was like, but wait, for real, that's how you gonna do me though? Just like that. He told me, ain't that what I said? Okay.
Just zip it.
Just zip it. And when I said okay and actually listen to everything he had to say, to his whole little layout plan that he had smoothly laid out for me, I was like, oh, well, this is what you've been trying to tell me the whole time. Look, and and it's so funny because it make you feel so small when you do it. But you was just this is what you tried to tell me the whole time, and I really did not listen to nothing you were saying.
The light bulb went off like, oh my God.
There you go. And I was like, oh, I listened to absolutely nothing you said. I am so sorry. Like I can remember all the I'm so sorry moments I have had with him. And it's just something that when you do that with God, it's cool. But when you try to do that with your people, they don't even want to hear the I'm sorry. They don't even want to hear that you were at this place in your life and you really weren't understanding what was going on. They don't want to hear that. When God say, okay, I got you, I forgive you, it's done. Just listen. That's all I need you to do. It's forgiven. We good. We Gucci. Your people ain't like that.
Nope.
We can't be like that with each other. We got to. Nope. Okay, I'm gonna forgive you, but I never forget it.
Yeah.
How many times have you caught yourself saying that? I'm gonna forgive, but I ain't gonna forget it. Well, you technically have not forgiven.
That's right.
I got answer for that one. You ain't gonna forget. Fine by me. Oh, fine by me. I don't care.
Well, look, I already know what your answer is. My answer is not helping this situation.
But come on now, think about it. Somebody gonna say I forgive you, but I ain't gonna forget. My answer is always the same. I don't care. Go ahead. Keep on not forgetting all you want to. One monkey don't stop no show, partner. Trust and believe. Get your ass in line because there's a whole bunch of folks that ain't forgot what I did today.
Look, I tell people all the time, look, if you really had to sit back and think about all the people that truly have not forgiven you,
Mm,
some of us will be thinking forever.
mhm.
Because for real, if you know
I
that
don't. I
you
don't.
don't like, I mean, there might be people who you don't even know that you did nothing to. They just
Yeah,
feel like you did something to them. You know,
Mhm.
that's how people get. And
that's true.
Right.
I mean, because when I had one person who said, "Well, I was mad at you because at this event you just never said hello."
Did I
What?
see you?
No, that's what I said.
What?
I was like,
Do
"What?"
I even know
And
you?
right, and then at the event that they mentioned was like years
Oh
ago,
wow.
and I was
Mm.
like, "Baby, you still hold on to the fact that I didn't say hello and I didn't even know you was in the building."
And you know what?
Like for real, for real.
It is funny that somebody can carry something
Yeah.
that long. So you've been holding this grudge from me for 20 years,
A long time.
and you won't just now tell me this,
Pretty much, because they said that they
man.
couldn't tell me until they saw me. So
Oh
okay.
So the next question is, so what do you want me to do about it?
no,
Well,
mine
mean,
ain't that question.
well,
Okay,
It's
you
a
know,
it's a
what would you
gesture.
like me to do
but
about
look,
it?
no, well, see, me being the person that I am, I apologize. I was like, well, honey, I didn't even know you was in the building. I said, because when do you know me being the person that I am today that I will see you and not speak? Whether
Mhm.
I just said hello and kept it moving, I would still speak and then just move on.
I
You know,
want to know
I can.
Fred's next question real quick. What's your next question?
Ain't no
What would you
question.
say?
So if you ask me, and bye.
See,
For me,
I'm
no,
messing-
it's not being rude or anything like that. But I mean, come on now, let's just keep this all the way a buck right now. You know, if somebody would have came to you with something that happened 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago, and we're not gonna remember that. We're not gonna remember that. Honestly speaking, we're not gonna remember that unless that person decides to pull out a novel and give it to you in all kind of detail. Then you'd be like, well, damn, really?
no, I
For me,
mean,
it's
for
not. For
in
me, it's
some
not that important.
Oh,
situations,
child, I ain't even see you. I did
right?
want to got no apology though.
In some, right? I mean, in some
Well,
situations, yeah.
you would have
But
got a
I
half-assed apology from me.
Mm-mm.
look,
You wouldn't have got one.
you see, this is what I'm talking about, y'all. See, Fred is that brother that would have made me keep fighting. That right there,
No,
that right there.
no,
But-
no, because I would told you, go ahead, back up, sister. I got this.
It's
Don't
not when
worry
it
about it.
comes to your brothers. That's the thing. When it comes to your brothers, it's not. Oh, sis, I got this because
right.
we're not gonna allow you to come at a woman. That's just like with my brother. He kept me fighting, and
That's what
even
I'm
that,
talking about.
like
There you go.
before I left
I ain't got a
Connecticut,
sister like
I
that.
worked in the bar with him. It's like I'm an evangelist. I'm bartending. Okay, I'm in the backslidden state. But when women came at him, it was like, look, don't make me come over this bar right now. You better stay out my brother's face. I'm a whole evangelist in the bar about to fight. Like, no, that's not something you do. So it don't
Cracking
work.
people in the head with
It's
bottles.
back
Yeah,
up. No, you don't
yeah.
do stuff like
See,
That's
and see, that's the thing. See, we
that.
all have chosen to do things that were outside of what they felt our leadership positions should be. Because I
that.
can
Right.
remember when I first got ordained as minister, Minister Coco. I was still doing security, doing bouncing at the clubs because they already knew that if somebody came up the wrong way, I would toss you out quickly. It didn't even matter to me. I'm gonna toss you out the door and dare you to come back through it. That's what it's gonna be. And I was the same way in the church though. So a lot of my
Wait a minute, they
old
didn't put you
leaders.
on the usher ministry, did they?
No, no, I was not the usher.
I was just saying.
The
I was
armor
not the
bearer.
usher. I was the
The
armor
Oh,
armor
bearer.
bearer.
okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We're
I
gonna
was
bear
not
some
the
arms. Yup, we're gonna bear
yeah.
some arms, and you're gonna have to
I
get
was
out the
not the
church.
usher, but I was the armor bearer, and
Okay,
you could
I was just checking. I was
yeah.
just
Ooh,
checking.
See, I could be the greeter at the door. I could do that, and I could usher you to your seat. But then there were some people that I would usher them straight past the seat and take them straight up to the altar because you need Jesus right now. we don't even need to hesitate. You need to go to him right now. So I'm gonna just take you all the way up to the front, and that's what I would do. I'm just saying the usher position was not for me. So
light tap on the shoulder, like, come with me.
The usher position was not mine. That was a place that I did not serve well.
Right.
I'm just be honest. That was a place that I did not serve well, y'all.
That's why I was double checking. I was like, wait a minute.
You had to check, right?
Look, but I did well in the position of an armor bearer. Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah. I was put in the proper position then, so they knew where to put me. So yeah, when I told them that I could be secure, they already knew that I could be secure. I could do that one. Yeah. Usher was not it, and greeter was not it some of the times either. Because if you came wrong, and I had to greet you at the door, woo Jesus, that's all I can say.
Get Jesse at the door.
That's all I can say.
See, that's people using wisdom to know where to place people according to their gifts and their abilities.
Right. Yes.
That person chose well.
Yeah.
Right. But you see, they did a test and trial with me, and I told them not to do that. They did test and trial with me. You want to put me in all this position to see what's going to happen. And I told them,
they don't test and trial right now.
Look, and I told the people, don't you put me in certain positions now, because I'm telling you, this ain't gonna work out well.
I don't know why people don't listen.
No.
I ain't a people person to begin with, so don't do that.
Look, and then you put me. I want you to work the altar. You want me to do what? With who? You want me to do what with who? You want me to work the altar? No, I'm not finna get down on the floor with these faking people. No,
negative.
Get on up, sister. So get on up.
Right, and I was
ain't nothing happening.
And I said that out loud a few times. Okay. I did that. I was like, Coco, tell him to get out. Look, and I said that out loud a few times. I was like, hold on. There's a hole in your ghost because the Holy Ghost has left the building and I need you to get up. So I did look, I can't with you right now. Something is wrong. The Holy Ghost has left. He is no longer residing with you today.
See, I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah. So yeah, working the altar didn't work out either.
Because that's a cop out. A lot of times when people are going down, they going down because they don't want to hear what you gotta say. I got a spirit of discernment, and I could tell if God laid you out, if you laid out on the floor. When me and Coco went to church on New Year's Eve, somebody did that. I was like, Coco, tell him to get up. Get up.
Sir, get on up.
Get up. And then the prophet that was there, she was like, we're not gonna deal with this because it's kids in the building, because she felt the same way. So it was like, come on, if she's ready, I'm ready. Let's do this.
The first thing she said was, don't make me expose you. And I was like, you need to do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
You need we got you. That. We got you.
We got
we got you all day long. And just like when I just went down to Hampton like a couple weekends ago.
Oh, okay.
And my spiritual mother was preaching, and she called out the warlock in the church. And then she turned. She turned and looked at the people. She said, I need you to get my purse and get everything ready so I can just exit the building because they're going to come after me. And I was the first one to stand up and say, I wish a nigga would. Okay. Right. You understand?
Right.
Do I need to turn and say it again? I wish
Right.
somebody would. And
Right.
then my spiritual mom ever so kind of say, see, I have some Peters and some
Mhm.
Right.
but see, Peter cut the ear off. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go for the
exactly.
gut. I'm not going for the
Right.
ear.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not
I'm
going
gonna
for
make
the
it
ear.
count. I'm gonna make it count.
Right. Right. But my spiritual mother knows who
Mm,
she dealing with. So,
Right.
I was
Exactly.
like, you'll have to pray all of his insides back together. Yes.
Well, I'm
But
gonna make you
it's
work on this one.
A-okay.
You have to work.
Right. But I was like, I'm a firm believer that if you lay hands, Jesus is gonna work through you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're gonna need you when it's hard. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
that's just where it was for me. But I tell people all the time, like us having this is comical. But when you think
Mm-hmm.
about it, think about how
It's
many
true.
people have allowed themselves to be put in positions that were not
Yeah.
right for them,
Yes.
were
Right.
No.
not meant
Yes.
for them, and now you're paying because
Yeah.
of the position you chose to stay in,
That's
Hmm.
true.
knowingly knowing that that was not your proper place.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of times that's the leader because the first pastor I was under, she has a nephew. And every time that boy would start coming to church consistently, she want to call him deacon.
Mm.
And I told her, I said, every time you give him a title, he runs out in the street. Stop giving him a title. He's not ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
No sooner than I said that, she called him deacon that following Sunday. He went out. That boy ended up getting hit by a car because he running now. He
Oh,
running. He's scared.
Mm.
Stop giving
Mm-hmm.
people titles that don't need the title. They're not ready for the title.
Yeah.
And that's our problem. We allow and don't know how to tell leadership because we want to walk in God. We
Mm-hmm.
right,
want to we want to be obedient to God, not realizing that you serving men right now. They
Right.
putting this on you. God didn't do this. Because
Yeah.
God sends a confirmation. He'll tell you first, and then he
right,
sends a confirmation. If he didn't speak that to you, you don't have to receive everything over your life. And
That's
that's
true.
where we fall short. Because
That's
we
so
received
true.
everything that so leadership put on our life. No,
Yeah.
no. You don't
That's
have to
true.
do that. Every title is not for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's
right.
just not.
But again, you think about the people who have chosen to answer to a call that was not the call from God.
Mm.
Right.
Think about how many people are
Yeah.
now dealing with that. How
Mm-hmm.
many people have
Exactly.
answered a call that your leader gave? It ain't the
Yeah.
call that
Exactly.
you got from God yourself. It ain't that
Right.
Mm,
call, but you answered
right.
your leader's call
Mm-hmm.
because you scared of this everything they tell you when you choose to do other than what they say. You're now being disobedient. Supposedly,
Exactly.
you're not obedient anymore when you're not the lapdog, as I call
Right.
it.
That's
You're
true.
not that type of person. And at the end of the day, if my obedience or disobedience, as you say, evolves around me doing everything you say,
Hmm.
then I guess you're gonna tell everybody I'm a heathen and
That's
I'm
right.
this and I'm
Hmm.
that because I'm not finna hang on your every word.
Right.
Nope.
That's not what I'm gonna do. Even though I hear people quote scriptures and give all these wonderful words and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
I can't go in the word and find what you just spoke on, baby,
Yeah.
I'm not entertained.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of the issues that we deal with now, where church has now become a form of entertainment.
It is.
It is
Yeah.
Hmm.
no longer about saving souls and all of the what we know that kingdom is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Church has now
Exactly.
become a form of entertainment for people.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And when it gets like that, what are you supposed to do with it?
Right.
Right.
Like
And people
you
put these leaders on a pedestal, and
right,
they
Hmm.
start really people worship.
right,
And
Right.
like I had to tell the leadership that I was a part of, I don't do people worship.
right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna bow down and worship you like everybody else around me. I'm not
Hmm.
doing that because you are not
Right.
God. You did not
Right.
die on
Yeah,
the cross for my sins. You did not save my soul. But that's what, like you
Hmm.
said, it's become a source of entertainment. It's all about egos and titles, and it has nothing to do with the spirit of God.
right.
You
Right.
know?
It's not like it used to be when I say because there's some Sundays I find myself saying it Like, Lord, just make this Sunday one of them old timey
Mm.
church
I know what you're
Sundays,
talking about. Right.
right? Where you
Mhm.
had the mothers come up and
Mhm.
say, you need to go tear it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
You had the
Mhm.
mothers come up and tell you that. The mother
Mhm.
will pull you to the side. You need to pull your dress down.
Mhm.
Them type
Yeah.
of old time in church
Yeah.
services where the mothers of the church will be like, hold on, wait a minute.
Mhm.
That one
Mhm.
right there, you need to tell her to sit down because what she got going on ain't even in the spirit. You
Mhm.
know,
Right.
where the mothers of the church will set the order, and now we can have church.
Mhm.
But you
Where
don't have
where
that anymore.
no, and then where the
Mhm.
music you heard made you think about where you was.
Right.
Mhm.
It wasn't just something. Oh, you can rip 1,000 runs and yeah,
Right.
your vocals sound good. That is not
Mhm.
appeasing to me. If the song don't move me to
Right.
where I can relate and find myself in it, I'm
Mhm.
not entertained. I'm just
Right.
one of those
Exactly.
type of people. Just like
Right.
if I read just like I have read y'all's book. If your book didn't catch me from the beginning,
Mhm.
I'm not entertained.
Right.
Right.
That's me. And it has to be something in the book where I can say, "Oh, I was there.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
found myself in that."
Right.
And
Right.
I can say that about you guys because some of your situations I found myself there.
Mhm.
I remember what it was like when I used to be in this situation and how I got out of it. And then
Mhm.
Right.
reading your situation, I can say, "Wow, well, bless God. Look at God.
Mhm.
He did it for somebody else."
Yes.
Right.
And
Yes.
just look at the way he chose to deliver and set you free from
Yes.
y'all situation. I'm
Mhm.
one of those people that I encourage the folk. I will celebrate you, honey. I
Yes.
will celebrate
Yes.
your life to the fullest,
Mhm.
Yes.
even when you don't want to celebrate your life.
Mhm.
I will
Right.
celebrate your life.
Yeah.
And I'm one of them. If you a praiser in church, baby, don't start praising around me and people want to act like they gonna look. We gonna praise them
Yeah.
together.
Yes.
I know that's
We
Mhm.
gonna
right.
praise them together. I'm gonna
Yeah.
touch and agree on whatever it is
Mhm.
that
Mm-hmm.
you in here giving him some praise for, that you in
Right.
here about to fall out over because you know that you know that you know. If it weren't for
Mm-hmm.
him, you wouldn't be sitting in that seat. If it weren't for
That's
him,
right.
you wouldn't be able to pick him up and put him down.
Yeah.
That's some type of situation that I could praise God for. I get happy and giddy when people come to God and they get
Mhm.
saved. When people get saved around me, I go to crying and boo. I'm a bucket of water because at the end of the day, you chose to make a decision to say I want better,
Yes.
and that's
Right.
how I see that.
And you know what,
So I
Coco? I have to say this real quick. One thing I have to say, I really have to thank my parents because of the way that they brought me up.
Mhm.
They really, really taught us how to go to God for ourselves. They really taught us about having a true, authentic relationship with God. And that
Girl.
literally makes all the difference in the world. Even when you go
Yes,
through these experiences, because you have that relationship intact and
Mhm.
you're growing that relationship, God will keep you. There are things that my mom went through, and just watching her go to God, watching her. I used to wake up in the middle of the night hearing her cry out to God at 4 o'clock, and she does it still to this day. When I was like 6 and 7 and 8 growing up, I used to hear her crying out to God on behalf of her family, and I would lay in bed just listening to her cry out to God on behalf, keeping her family, protecting her children, protecting her husband, protecting people. And I grew up listening to that, and she still does it at 4 a.m. to this day. And so having her example, even when my dad had walked away at one point from our family, and people told her, "Oh, you just should give up on him. He's never coming back." And the Lord gave my mom three dreams, and the third one was he told her the reconciliation he was going to do within her marriage. A sign of that would be she would be pregnant with a son, and she was to call him Emmanuel, because God was with us during these trying times. And to watch all of that come into fruition. And so when I have these crazy church experiences, because I had that relationship intact,
Mhm.
a lot of people, when we deal, and it's tempting when you deal with these negative experiences, is to
Mhm.
run away from God Himself
Right.
Right.
because of everything that you've been through. But that makes the difference in really having that relationship, because when I went through everything I went through, um, it literally made me run to God and not from him.
Right.
And it's because I understood the difference between his character and the character of man. The
Right.
Bible even says, put your faith and trust in no man.
Say that
And so
again.
because I knew the difference between, you know what, it's just like this, like I used to, like I tell people, it's just like you having a business and you own a business. And you hire people to represent your business, go throughout the community and go door to door knocking and represent who you are as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. Well, some of these people, when they go, they rob people, they cheat people, they manipulate. And so now people, when dealing with your business, they're not going to say, oh, it's not the business owner, it's not this business, it's just a few employees. No, the whole business is bad.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, don't these this is what this business does to you.
Right.
Even though you as an owner, that's not what you're about. It's the same thing with God, because we have misrepresentation
Mm-hmm.
in the church.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now people think that this is God's character and this is how God is, when it's not. It's far removed from who he is, and it takes
Right.
authentic people like the people here who truly represent what God is all about, so we can show the true nature and the true character of God. Now, that, obviously that doesn't mean we're perfect,
Right.
but it
By
does
far.
mean that, you know, people can see the light of Christ in us. So I think for me, with all these experiences that I had, um, the real difference for me was the relationship part that I had. Like, I wasn't stuck on a man. I wasn't stuck on, you know, everything coming out of his mouth. I was more stuck on the word of God. And because unfortunately people are not studious these days, people don't study the word of God because they want to be entertained. Because you got social media, you got so many, you got you got Fire Stick, a million channels, and it's like you want to kind of flip the remote and scroll through instead of doing your homework and studying. So then you believe everything coming out of his mouth, because you really don't know the word of God for yourself, because you really
Right.
don't have a relationship with God for yourself. So you're easily deceived. And the Bible says that people are going to have itching ears to hear what they want to hear anyway, because people don't want to be called into accountability and take
That's it.
responsibility for their actions.
Accountability is a big part.
Yes. So it's
Yes.
just like, I think that really makes a difference in everything that we're talking about, you
Right. And
know?
I think for me, and I think that me and Q have tried to discuss it multiple times, but none of I think the nights that we talked about it, we didn't have any, like, other preachers or anything on the show. But my problem that I see now is that a lot of leaders don't want to be accountable.
No,
Right.
Right.
You
definitely
you
not.
don't wanna say, yeah, I used to be where you are, because you want people to think that you've been saved all your life and you have not.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. You want to think that you want people to really think that you and God been bosom buddies since forever, and you have
Mhm.
not.
You
You know what I
haven't.
mean?
Right.
You have to.
You haven't. That's a relationship that had to grow. And
Mhm.
it's a relationship that you have to really, really want in order to maintain it, because it
Mhm.
doesn't
Right.
maintain itself.
That's
You
right.
Right.
can't just say, okay, God, I know you, and never talk to him. You
You're
can't
Right.
right.
just say, God, I know you, and never give him any kind of thanks, praise, or worship.
Mhm.
That
Right.
doesn't work. And then, for a lot of people, they can honestly say, I know of God, but I still don't know him.
Know him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And when you find yourself in that place, that's when you know that you need to assess your relationship. Because
Yes.
if you just know of him, you should be out of that stage of knowing of him. You should
Mm-hmm.
know him because he's done something for you, so you should know him.
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
that's where you should be. I mean, we all have had different experiences and
Mhm.
encounters with God on multiple levels.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and for me, and I'm sure that you ladies could say the same, the God that I know is so multifaceted
Oh
that I
yes.
can't I
Yes.
can't even put a
Yes.
I can't even put enough titles and words on the
Nope.
man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, to really be able to say, well, God, you are. Like, and I
Mhm.
Yes.
mean, you could go on and on and on
Mhm.
to say everything that he is, and
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
everything that he has been to me and what he currently is right now. I could go
Mhm.
on and on and on. And I mean,
Mhm.
I'm sure that we all could. It's
Yeah.
just like for me, like the Bible says and like the song says, if I had 10,000 tongues, it would not be enough
Wouldn't be enough.
to
Yeah.
be
Right.
able to say who and what you are.
Mhm.
I have experienced God in such a way that I couldn't get people to understand.
Right.
Right.
And my experience of him has been ultimately, oh my God, has he kept me?
Yes. Yes.
That's the biggest part. He has
Mhm.
kept me.
Yes.
Even
Mm.
Right.
when I did, even when I was at those times that I didn't want to be kept.
Yeah.
He
Right.
kept me. You know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
the biggest thing about it. And then even going through and dealing with all of my illnesses, he kept me.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? He
Mm.
didn't have to. He
Yeah.
Right.
chose to keep me. And at the
That's
end
right.
of the day, I had multiple people tell me. And you guys told me the night that I was on your show, you are stronger than what you think. Like,
Amen.
but I've never like I have not been that person that felt like that
Mhm.
due to what I encountered. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I never just really, well, you know what? At the end of the day, I can say that I'm an overcomer. I can say that I'm a warrior to my heart.
Mhm.
At
Mhm.
the end of the day, I am a fighter, but I fight in another fashion now. The way
Mhm.
that I fight
Yes.
now is the way that I fight now, honey, is if you say you want prayer, I'm gonna get it because I could pray the house down
Yes.
for you. And
Yes.
at the end
Mhm.
of the day, I know that when I open my mouth in prayer concerning you, he hears me. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
And
Amen.
that's the thing to know when I was in a way where I didn't feel like I was being heard at all. I
Mhm.
know he hears me. And
Amen.
it's a wonderful feeling to know that you know.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For some people, it takes them a long time to get there.
Right.
But I think that the four of us on this panel, know that we know who
Yes.
he is.
Oh yes.
Yes.
And you
Absolutely.
know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
mean, all I can say is to all three of you ladies, I love you guys with the love of God, but I love you guys just from the heart. And
Amen.
that's
You
something
too.
that I had to ask God for because
Mhm.
I did not have a love for people. I didn't like people.
Right.
Mhm.
I really didn't like people because everything I saw characters that I didn't like. I saw it won't even
Mhm.
about your flaws, it's what I saw, you
Right.
know,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right.
and what I could see naturally and what I saw spiritually, I didn't like neither one of them on people. And
Right.
Right.
that was a thing for me. And I was like, God, I need you to give me the love that you got for people. That means that
Mhm.
no matter what they do, I can still love them.
You'll love them.
Because if you leave this up to me, it ain't gonna happen.
Right.
It's
Right.
not gonna happen. And when
Right.
he did that for me, I mean, I have had people that have done me dog dirty, and
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
still love them. And
Amen.
because I still love them, they was like, why you even still having a conversation with me
Yeah.
Mhm.
after knowing what I did to you? Because it won't
Right.
about you, and it won't
Mhm.
you that did it. It was that spirit that was sitting on
That's
you that
right.
did it.
That's right.
Mhm.
So, that's
Yeah.
when I started realizing that everybody you dealing with ain't what you really see. You
That's
Right.
dealing with
right.
the spirit that resides in the person.
That's
Once
Mhm.
right.
you got enough discernment to know what spirit you dealing with, you know how to handle them
Mhm.
accordingly. And
Yep.
that's how I started doing people. Okay, I know what I'm dealing with today.
Mhm.
And me and it finna have a conversation.
Right.
It ain't
Mhm.
me and you, me and that is finna have a
Yeah.
conversation.
Right. Right.
And that's when I get on my face concerning you and concerning everything that engulfs itself around you. And I be like, God, change that. Renew the
Yes.
Mhm.
heart, clean the
Yes.
heart, renew the
Yes.
heart, and give them a right spirit in you.
Amen.
Let them
Mhm.
begin to walk around in who you are. Let them begin open their eyes so they can see themselves the way you see them.
Mm.
Right.
And
Mm.
that's the type of prayers that I pray over people.
Amen.
I don't pray no housing, cars, and lands to people. I'm not even gonna
Mm.
do
Right.
that because
Right.
I would never pray something to you that I know you are not ready for.
Can't
And at
handle.
the end
Mhm.
Yes.
of the day, that's the other thing too that I like I say all the time. Don't pray amiss. Stop asking God
Right.
for stuff that you know you're not ready for.
Mhm.
Right.
And then when He
Exactly.
gives it to you, you mistreat it and you mishandle it. Don't do
Mm.
Mhm.
that. Don't do
Mhm.
That's
that.
right.
He gave you what you asked for because the word tells you he'll give you the desires of your heart. And
Mhm.
if
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
ask, it will be given. And at the end of the day, he won't withhold anything from you because he
That's right.
wants to give you what you want. But at the end of the day, don't ask for something that you really know you are not ready for. And a lot of people do that to themselves. And then when they get put in that position, they're like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do with it? But you asked for it. You asked for something that you don't know what to do with. What? Where do we do that at?
Right.
You like I know so many people asking and waiting to be a wife, but you don't know how to be one.
Right.
You want to be married so bad, but you don't know how to be a wife yet, though.
Yeah.
So when if you was to go get married tomorrow, what are you gonna do to that man?
Yeah.
Listen.
You know what I mean? Just like I know a lot of people. Oh, I can't wait to be a mother and all this other stuff. But baby,
you're not ready.
But you're not ready. What? How are you gonna treat that child if that child don't come out all right? Are you still gonna love that child if that child don't come out fully developed?
Yeah.
Are you still gonna be able to do that if your child having to come out born with Down syndrome? Are you ready to handle that? Because you don't know what's gonna happen.
That's
exactly.
Can you be that mother
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day? And that's the thing. I know a lot of people who told me that had children that were born with something wrong with them, and they gave those babies away. And that right there did something to my whole world. You asked for this baby,
but then you give it away because it
And you
wasn't
gave it
it
away.
wasn't your perfect baby.
That's it. And you gave it away. But do you realize I told a person that did that, I said, do you realize you just gave away your blessing?
Right.
There you go. Exactly.
I said, you don't see that, but do you realize you just gave away your blessing?
Yeah.
I said, at the end of the day, I always ask people, I want y'all to sit back and think about, I'm not telling you to go back into your past, but I just want you to think and reflect for a second. Think about how many blessings you have truly forfeited. That you can't go back and grab, you can't grab them back because you willfully forfeited them. So when you willfully gave them away, you can't say that was the end. So first of all, let's stop giving him so much credit that ain't his.
Right.
Because a lot of things are not him.
Right.
Right.
A lot of things God gives us tests for a reason. If you can't be tested, you can't be trusted.
Right.
That's right.
Right. And that's just my feeling. If you can't be tested, you can't be trusted. And
That's
at
right.
the end of the day, your faith is going to be tested to see if you can be trusted.
Yes.
And it's the same thing even in your relationships. If your relationship between whoever it is, just like we all have a relationship now. And at the end of the day, if somebody was to come up and say, well, oh, Coco said this about you, Shana, you know me enough to be able to say,
no, she
no,
didn't.
because if she had that effect, she would have
She
told
would
me
say it to my face,
right. And so for people to go, oh, well, such and such said such a what? No, at the end of the day, this is a test. And the reason why it's being tested is because, first of all, iron sharpens iron. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna tell you nothing that's gonna get you off track or where you headed. I ain't gonna tell you nothing that ain't in God's will. And I'm not gonna tell you, oh, well, you should turn left when the Lord told you to turn right.
Right.
That is not what I'm gonna do. At the end of the day, if you say this is my goal and this is what the Lord said, okay. Remember, you said this is what the Lord said.
Right.
You said this is what the Lord said. Okay. Now, because he said this to you, you need to follow his instruction.
Right.
Because he gave that instruction to you. Can't nobody deter you from an instruction that was given divinely to you. When you decide to listen to all these other people and they try to talk you out of wherever God is trying to take you, tone the voices out.
Yeah.
Because what you know is what you know. Can't nobody deter you from where God is trying to take you. If it's meant to be, it's gonna be.
That's right.
I promise you, when something is divinely ordered, I don't care who tried to kill it. A lot of people can try to kill the plan, but it's still gonna come to fruition.
Amen.
That's right.
And that's the biggest thing. You know, I tell you and Shana all the time, Lyrical. What's coming? And what you see right now, and that whole scripture that I can say it 1,000 times, the eyes have not ears, have not seen, nor have ears heard. You know what I'm saying? If people don't understand exactly what's coming, and just like I've been telling Q, that I keep having dreams of all of us walking the red carpet. I said it like I don't know how many times I have said it. Like for
Just
real, for real.
today, at least 5 times.
Right.
Like-
I keep literally, I keep
right.
having dreams that I see us walking the red
Amen.
carpet. And
Amen.
at the end of the day, you know that if you walk in the red carpet, then in certain industries you made it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's the thing. Like it's so the atmosphere is so big and already so set up, and he done so much stuff. I mean, strategically on
Mm-hmm.
our behalf that it ain't
Right.
even
Yes.
funny. And then
Mhm.
it's stuff that he doing behind the scenes that we not even
Mm-hmm.
aware of.
Right.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? When I say you can't even fathom what's coming, you really cannot fathom what's coming.
Oh,
When I
Jesus.
tell you like some of the dreams that I have had
Mhm.
concerning everybody on this panel, because I don't always talk about it.
I
But
Right.
know.
Right.
the
We
things
know.
that I have seen concerning everybody on the panel, I mean, when he shows me dreams of where you wake up in the field that's supposed to be full of flowers. And
Mm.
the flowers are real pretty. They blooming and they smell all nice and sweet. But when you go to pick the flower, that flower turn into dollar signs.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
like
Okay.
stuff
Jesus.
like I mean I have literally woke up in the field, laying in the field full of flowers, and when I go to pick the flower turned into dollar signs.
Wow.
It's like, at the end of the day, the stuff that he shows me, it
Mhm.
always manifests itself, and it'd be so
Right.
Yeah.
scary.
Mm-hmm.
It'd
Right.
be so scary. And when people say, well, look, you told me that I was in my like I had a lady tell me, you told me I was in my birthing season, but I didn't really know that I was about to give birth. She didn't even know she was pregnant.
Oh wow.
Naturally.
Wow.
By the time she found out she was pregnant, naturally she was 8 months.
Ah,
Ooh.
Because
Wow.
she never showed,
Gotcha.
she was so small, she never
Oh,
showed.
Gotcha.
She
gotcha.
never showed, and
Mhm.
she had her cycle the whole entire time. So she
Wow.
See, I had
never
an
knew,
attitude. I had an attitude. Excuse
but she never knew. And I kept telling her every time she talked to me,
Yeah.
I said, sweetheart, you were in your birthing season. I
me.
said,
Wow.
all I see is you standing up and your water breaking. And I
Mm.
kept
Mm-hmm.
telling her that. And then
Yeah.
then like a couple months go by down the road, and she picks up the phone. She called me. She said, "Let me tell you something. You told me I was in my birthing season, but I did not think I was
I
naturally
was
going to
in
give
my
birth."
birthday season.
Right.
Literally.
And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Remember, like 3 months ago, you told me that I was in my birthing season." I said, "Yeah." She said, "I well, I'm 8 months pregnant and my water broke." She called
Oh
me from
my
the hospital room.
goodness.
And
Wow.
Wow.
I was just like, well, I told you I had a business with
Told
water
you.
breaking. I didn't
Right.
know,
You
you
did.
know, right. And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. She said, no, I appreciate you. She said, because you don't understand. I said, what? She said, due to childhood trauma, they told me
Mhm.
I would never
Yeah.
conceive.
Wow. Look
Mm.
at God.
mm.
Hmm.
Look at
And
God.
she had her baby. She got a beautiful little girl. And I
Oh.
mean,
Oh.
I was just like, you know what? I said, honey, one thing I can tell you is the doctors may tell you one thing,
Mhm.
but
Mm-hmm.
God got the
Oh
last
God.
say
God.
so.
Yes.
He got the
God.
last say.
Yes, he does.
I said,
Yes.
look, let me tell you this. I know a woman who had a full hysterectomy and gave birth.
Mm,
Wow.
mm,
I said,
mm.
the Lord still allowed her to give
Mm.
birth. I said, and everybody was trying to figure out how when she had no
Listen.
female parts. I said, so
Listen.
at the end of the day, I said, let me tell you what something that I know he real fully
There
capable
you
of.
go.
So
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, I tell you guys to expect the unexpected, but expect the unexpected in God's will for you.
Yes.
Amen.
You know
Absolutely.
what I
Yes.
mean?
Amen.
Not in a bad light, but expect it. Wake up
Right.
every day with an expectation,
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Amen.
and know that
Definitely.
He's going to meet that expectation. I
Amen.
promise you guys, we all got so much going on. We all got a multiple hats that we are wearing
Yes.
currently at the time. But I
Mhm.
tell you something, He's setting us up for something
Amen.
that is going to be so great and so grand that
Amen.
Mhm.
we won't even be able to understand it. When we sit
Right.
back,
Amen.
we're going to be able to say it was all God.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's what we are all going to be able to say. Like I
Amen.
told Shayna, I'm waiting to see you producing your own movie, boo boo.
Yay.
Yes.
I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on you to produce a movie and be better than Spike Lee.
There you go.
I'm waiting on
Right.
it. I'm
Hello.
waiting on it. And Lyrica, honey, I'm waiting for you to just branch your and launch yourself in the deep.
Yes.
Amen.
Launch yourself out there for what you know that you are fully capable of. Because
Amen.
when you do your spoken word, I don't think you understand why he gives you the words he gives you at that
Mm,
time.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Amen.
The words he gives you and the way you put them, the way you sew them together. I'm gonna use that as the term. The
You
way
know?
you
Amen.
sew them together, when they
mm,
come out your mouth, they hit people in a different perspective than where
mm,
it normally would come out. Your spoken
Mhm.
word ain't like other people's spoken word.
Right.
People,
mm.
you can listen to spoken word, you like, oh yeah, that was real catchy.
Mhm.
But you
Right.
got one of those spoken words where you listen from the beginning to the end and
Mm.
you like,
Mhm.
hold on, wait a minute. Did you hear what she
Mhm.
just said?
That's right.
Like
Amen.
that's one of those levels
Mm,
that you are on. You know what I
Amen.
mean? And understand that you are a plight above the rest. You
mhm.
are
Amen.
not where everybody else is. You might be in that same little group, but you
Mhm.
are not where they are. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Amen.
He has you in a place, in a position that, baby, you don't even understand. You
Amen.
don't even understand. And that's to the both of y'all. I
Amen.
mean, I'm telling you, and I keep telling y'all, I keep hearing the word syndication, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Every time I talk to y'all, I say that, don't I?
Mm,
So
yes, you
I'm,
Yes.
I'm,
do.
I'm, telling, I'm telling y'all, that's what, with these podcasts and radio shows that we
Mhm.
doing, I keep hearing syndicate. I keep
Mm.
seeing this red carpet. All of this stuff that is going on, whenever it's gonna take place, just be ready.
Amen.
Just be
Amen.
ready and be able to say, God, you know what? I know you did it. So you gonna walk.
Yes.
You always been walking before me. Now you gonna
Yes.
walk before me then too.
That's
Right.
And
right.
when I get on the red carpet, I'm gonna tell everybody about you.
Exactly.
That's,
Mhm.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Right.
When everybody say, where's your special guest? Oh, my special guest is God.
Yes. The
And
Yes.
I
Lord
brought him
Jesus
with me
himself.
tonight. Right.
Yes.
I
Mhm.
brought him with me tonight because he's the
Mhm.
reason why I'm standing here on
That's
this carpet.
right. That's
You know,
Right.
right.
and that's where we got to get ready to place ourselves. I told you the other day, I said he always say, be ye ready. And that's what we gotta do. You gotta
Yes.
be
Just be
ready.
ready.
Right.
You gotta be ready. Cause I mean, honey, it's gonna come, and it's gonna come in a fashion that we not gonna have time to catch up.
Right.
Yes.
But this
You know what
is
I
this
mean?
is another thing that dropped in my spirit. There's some doors that's gonna open up that we're not supposed to walk into. Their distraction. So you
Yeah,
have
Mm.
to have that spirit of discernment and
Yes.
know
yeah,
Mhm.
that what's of God and what is
What's
not.
not.
right.
For
Right.
Yes.
example, I walked into a job for one day and I said, Lord, I prayed for this job. You gave it to me before the new year came in, actually on New Year's Eve. And
Mm-hmm.
this is a distraction. I repent
Mhm.
and I'm not
Mm.
going back. Literally.
Mhm.
So you have to be careful of the doors
Right.
that you walk into because some are there just to use you or just to pimp you out.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
be careful when you go into those doors
That's
because
the
they're
word.
Right.
opening. They're about to
Right.
fly open.
A flower, right? And I
They're gonna
said
fly
earlier,
open.
I said, be careful what you say yes to.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know what
You
I'm saying?
did.
Be careful what you
Yes.
say yes to, because
Yeah.
you're gonna have people say, "Oh, I want you to come and do this. Oh, I want
Mhm.
you to come and speak here." But the reason why they calling you to speak is because they got a hidden agenda.
Yes.
Right.
They
Exactly.
they they calling you to speak into a room full of people who don't like you.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And when you walk in, that's all you see is
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
faces of people that you know
That
don't
don't like
like
you.
you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
now because you here, you
Mhm.
accepted it, you here,
Mhm.
you got to deliver.
That's right.
And
Mhm.
when you deliver, you know it's not gonna be accepted.
Right.
Right.
That's
Right.
You know that it's gonna be rejected, but you still got to get up and deliver because you
Mhm.
accepted it.
Right.
So
Mhm.
again, watch what you say yes to in the
yes.
season, because you're gonna have people coming from left and right, oh, and pulling and tugging here and there, and
Mm-hmm.
you gotta know what you know. You know
Right.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's
I
right.
mean, we all got events coming up,
Mhm.
and you guys please share your calendar so that we can shout y'all out and do,
Yes.
Right.
And vice
tell
versa.
the
Vice
tell the
Absolutely.
people
versa.
about what y'all got going on, so that we know what y'all got going on. Y'all know what we got going on,
Yes.
and we're gonna
Right.
shout out each other because y'all
Yes.
Yes.
already know. And y'all know I share y'all stuff. So, you
Yeah.
know,
Yes,
if you go up
yes,
on my page, it's
yes.
shared. You know, go see it.
We love
That's what it
you.
is for me because that's what I do.
Right.
Y'all do have on testimony your testimonial Tuesdays is a great show. You know what I
Amen.
mean? You have
Yes.
people from all walks of life coming up there and giving their testimonies,
Right.
and some of the stuff you just be like, oh my God, you
Yes.
know,
Mm-hmm.
when you listen to it. And at the
Mhm.
end of the day, I commend everybody that's ever been on your show that was
Yes.
brave enough to get up there and tell their story.
That's
Because
right.
I
Absolutely.
know you know that it ain't easy. You know what I
Mm-mm.
Right.
mean? I
Right.
mean, you guys know it ain't easy because y'all,
Mhm.
you and Quint both had to relive some stuff in order to write y'all books.
Yes.
That's
Mm-hmm.
just like you going every time somebody read it, you telling it over and
Yes.
And
over
over
again.
again.
You
Mm-hmm.
know what
Mhm.
I mean? So you just think about that somebody reliving this stuff with you every time
Every
they go
day.
back and pick it up.
Yes.
I mean, I trust me, I get it, I understand, you know, and I mean, I like I said, I rep y'all to the fullest. I
Oh,
want y'all
good.
to prosper in every way
Amen.
possible. I want to see
Amen.
Amen.
y'all flourish. I want to see you grow, and I want to see all of y'all walking in abundance like you're supposed to. Please
Amen.
don't walk around like you're defeated. It may not be what you want it to be right now, but it
Yeah.
won't stay that way. It
Amen.
won't stay
Absolutely.
that way.
Amen.
And that's
Right.
the thing, you know, turn everything that sounds negative into something positive.
Yes.
That's
Right.
right.
Turn it from a thing to I don't know, I can't to a God thing to I can, I shall, and I
Yes.
will. You know what I
Amen.
That's
mean?
right.
Amen.
That's what you got to do. And I mean,
Mm.
in this season, if I can't do nothing but encourage,
Amen.
I'm gonna encourage you until I can't
That's
encourage you no more. I'm
Amen.
gonna tell you to
it.
go forth, and I'm gonna tell you to push. I'm gonna tell you to push till it hurt. You
Amen.
know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Because
Yeah.
that's what you got to do. Sometimes,
Mhm.
in order to reach your next level, you got to cross that barrier that you wouldn't normally cross, and
Right.
Right.
and that's what you have to do. You know what I mean? Like I told you guys before, in your prayer time, push
Yeah.
until it hurt.
Yeah.
And
That's
at
right.
the end of the day, get to a point with him that's so intimate that you ain't never hit that level of intimacy before
Mhm.
with him,
Mm.
and you know that you done reached a higher height and a new
Right.
depth in him. You know what I mean? Like I told Q, we didn't have no topic for tonight. This is
Mhm.
just gonna be a Q&A session. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? And we appreciate you guys coming
We
Yes.
on
appreciate you
and
all.
doing the Q&A and just being them soul sisters as I like that
Oh
that
yeah.
Thank
that
you.
rock with you, but don't always have to agree with you. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Amen.
Right.
That's
That's what
right.
I like. You know, and I like the fact that we come from different genres,
Yeah.
but we can still agree. And if we don't agree, we can still agree
We
on
can
not
Right.
agreeing. You know what I mean? So that part I love. You know what I mean? And I pray that we can always continue the sisterhood that
Amen.
we have,
Amen.
that it will
Yes.
Absolutely.
continue. And like I said, we are here. We are latches of each other. And if somebody needs something, please don't hesitate.
Yes.
Please
Yes.
don't
Absolutely.
hesitate.
Yes.
I mean, because like I said, if it ain't nothing but prayer, if you hit me on the hip, you hit Q on the hip, it's gonna go down.
That's
So
right.
I
Amen.
mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, even we normally include people that we know in our prayers anyway. That's
Right.
a norm for us.
Mhm.
But I mean, when it's private and it's personal and you need it right now, that's I'm a phone call away, or I'm a
Amen.
text message away. All you gotta do is hit, and I got you. So
Right.
yeah,
Thank
I
you,
mean,
sis.
and that's the thing, you know, you want to be able to have that with people.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I can say I got with the three of you guys. So
Amen.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate you for pulling me into the club
Yes.
because
Listen.
I was the late bloomer coming into the club, as I said. Um, but I mean, I have enjoyed the ride, and I
Amen.
know that it's just going to get greater from here. I
Yes.
mean, tonight
Yeah.
has been an awesome night for me because
Yes.
Yes.
I'm so full elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's just. I mean, I got so much in me to talk about the Lord that I could just keep going. But I
Mhm.
Amen.
promise y'all, like y'all really don't understand exactly where y'all are headed. I
Mhm.
Mm.
mean, I hope you know that you got an inkling for yourself. Just a little bit. If you don't know it fully, I hope you got an inkling for yourself that okay, God, I know you got greater. And
Amen.
that's where
Yes.
you about to take me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I
Amen.
Absolutely.
blessings over everybody on the panel.
Amen.
I mean,
Thank you,
blessings over
sis.
Thank
all
you.
y'all. And I mean, I just don't even know what else to say. It's so much that the
We
Lord has
love
shown
you.
me. Right, I love you guys. I
Yeah,
know.
we
We
love
love
y'all.
you. Yeah, we love
We love
y'all.
y'all.
Right.
So before we close, Lyrica, tell the people how they can get in
I'm
contact with
tired.
you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. So, easiest way is actually to go on my website, which is www.lyrical, lyrical, the number 7.com. And from there, there's links to all my social media sites. And oh, one quick thing. So I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but me and my two brothers just started our own YouTube show called Conversing with the Griffins. So if you just go on YouTube and type in Conversing with the Griffins, it should pull it up, subscribe, watch the videos. It's just basically about us as siblings growing up in our household, the Griffins, and what that life was like. And then just other topics too that we, all three of us, we talk about and discuss. And they have issues. So so yeah. You will be quite entertained because I think out of the three of us, I'm the only sane one. So
Right. When you took down the mailboxes, yeah.
girl,
Yes, honey.
Look,
girl, listen, they be like, no, we all just as crazy.
Wait, and then you agree with the people that a car done ran over their
Oh,
right.
house.
girl, listen. We had problems growing up. I'm telling you, we were not right growing up.
Yeah, y'all need to watch her show for real, for real.
Yes, y'all do.
Right.
Y'all will get all the laughs.
Y'all would love it.
Right.
All right, Shana, tell
Make
the
sure
people.
make sure that you go after the show is over, or you can do it now if you log in live. If you go into the live, make sure you pin your information.
Oh, okay.
So if
Gotcha.
I
Will
don't
do.
already have it pinned, because I got your website, but I don't have your
Oh,
conversion
okay.
with the yeah.
I'll
Make
do
sure you go
that.
back and pin your information.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Shayna.
Well, as a Coleman. Everybody, y'all can find me on Facebook as Shana Gourdine or Shana Gourdine Author. You can also find me Shana Gourdine Author on Instagram. My website is www.theladybehindthemask.com. And all my other platforms, you may as well just inbox me on Shana Gourdine Author, because then I'll just send you the
Right.
different directions. Because I have so many platforms. We're not
Yes.
even about to go into all of those.
Q.
Oh, I can be found here.
Yeah, how about we not pause? I need you to tell the folks how to find you, books, ma'am.
I was typing. I can be found here on Trailblazers podcast. I can also be found on Quint Jones on Facebook. QuintJones.com is my website. Yeah, and then from there, yeah, better to get me on Facebook.
Oh my God.
And Coco?
You guys, do y'all see what I deal with? This is what I deal with every day. Okay. Oh my goodness. Look, okay, well, look, y'all can find me on Facebook at Camelia Coco Fenton. You can also find me at Curvy Royal on Facebook as well. That's my travel agency page and entertainment stuff that I do on the side. We are getting ready to start some groups here. So when we get ready to start the groups, we will tell you guys so you guys can join. What else do we have coming up? So we have a men's conference coming up. We have a prophetic conference coming up, and then we have my Curvy Girl Gala that is also coming
Love
up.
it.
So we will give y'all the dates for all.
Yes, please do.
Please do. So we can add it to the calendar.
Yeah, so we will give y'all the dates for all of this stuff. But the Curvy Girl Gala, we either are gonna choose August or October for it, but I think I'm gonna choose October. And it is gonna be virtual as well as in person.
I was gonna ask because I might can't be moving around too much.
Right,
So
Well,
I got you covered.
Y'all know what? But for next year, we need to do a women's retreat cruise.
Yeah, we are.
And come together
Yes.
and do that.
Yeah.
We can all
But
plan it out, but
I
we'll
actually
brainstorm later.
we're gonna brainstorm about that because we may not do the cruise part due to the
Okay.
COVID, and people act
Oh,
like it's not gonna ever
That
go
part.
away. We
uh,
don't want to get stranded
Yeah.
on the boat. Okay.
No, we don't want to get
Um,
stranded on the water.
right. We don't want to get
Mm-mm.
stranded on the boat.
No.
So
listen.
we are gonna plan this good old retreat, but it's gonna be on dry land, y'all. Okay. Um
I'm about to say I
so
need to befriend the pilot. I'm gonna have to fly that.
it's gonna be on dry land, y'all, and we will tell you where. Okay, yeah. So stay tuned for that one because we're not doing
But
it on the boat.
but we need to collaborate with that. We need to collaborate with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
What y'all
Okay.
think? What y'all think?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
yeah. So we're gonna
yeah.
do that,
Awesome.
and
Okay.
then we're also going to plan a singles and couples retreat.
Ah,
So
yes.
Yay.
that is the next thing, and
That's gonna be
we're
awesome.
gonna merge the two together because
That's gonna be awesome.
we don't want the single folks feeling left out. So
Right.
we're gonna
Right.
merge the two together, and I think that that's gonna be a
Nice.
lot of fun, you
That
guys.
is. Whew.
That was
And we're gonna have different sessions during the retreat for everybody, especially for the single people.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then we're gonna have stuff for the married couples as well. So we're gonna have
Nice.
sessions to talk to the people, but we're gonna have an awesome time. Even at the women's retreat, we're really gonna get down at the women's
Yes.
retreat because we're gonna talk about some stuff, ladies.
All right now.
So yeah, we're gonna have fun. And anything that y'all comes to the mind brainstorming, please hit me on the inbox so I
Oh,
know.
okay.
absolutely.
Yes.
So I know what to put on the flyer, so I know what to tell the people that we're going to do.
Nice.
So we are collabing and sponsoring this thing together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm super excited about that.
Me
Yes.
too.
And
Um, but like I said, you ladies, always a pleasure
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
ladies.
always
Yeah.
a pleasure for the converse, and thank y'all for accepting that short
Oh my
notice.
No
goodness, of course.
problem.
Yes.
That
Anything
was
for you
so
guys.
that was so
Anything for you guys.
awesome. Yeah,
Listen, we love y'all. Anything for y'all.
we love you,
Yes.
right. Look, when Shana said, I'm gonna get all of y'all up here at once. Me and Q thought about it at the same time. We better get both of them tomorrow.
Right. They don't
right.
even know.
I know, right? I'm like, oh, we got invitations in the middle of the. We got invited. What time?
Right. I was over there. Gina, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
All right.
And then Fred said, I was gonna invite them, but you was too quick. I was like, well,
Right,
you can
right.
join us.
Right.
Exactly.
So Shana said it first, but we just beat her to the punch. And
Right.
then
Right.
so it'll be us next time. And
There
we
you
got it.
go. Exactly.
We are always ready. So
Right.
yeah.
That's
We always
awesome.
Uh,
come prepared.
right at all times. So you guys, like I said, y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you
You all
guys
too.
again for
Thank you
Well,
so
joining.
thank
much.
you.
And
It's
to
a
our
blessing.
audience, thank you guys for coming on with us tonight. We hope that you enjoyed it. We hope that you got something from it. And if anything, take away, your relationship is yours, but you need to make your relationship count.
There you go.
Yes.
So, so we love you guys. Have a great night.
Good
No.
night.
Good night.